forth. And Luminosity, this is another team who could potentially is still in the running. This is a roster who's like, these guys are top 3 in the game. That's sort of what everybody's said. So I mean, it's definitely going to be very tough for Evil Geniuses to win this series. If I had to give a prediction, I know I would probably go 3-1 Luminosity right now.
3-1 LG. TB, kind of on that same side of the fence?
I think it's very important to see how this first hardpoint goes. If it's a smashing from LG, I really expect them to just walk away with the 3-0. I don't think EG is going to be a team that's going to bounce back very well from losses like that, especially when they haven't had very much success early in Infinite Warfare.
Oh, excited to get this one underway. As we mentioned, just currently a game going on the side station. As soon as that one does conclude, we can get back to the action on the main stage. But we talked a little bit earlier on about the CWL. Of course, this is the first big event we've had this year, kicking off the CWL, and some of the stops that will be going on throughout this year. I believe actually an update on the side, EG round 11, and I believe is that a game 5?
Yes, it is.
Interesting. I'm curious to see if they...
But it looks like they're done. I think they're setting up now.
We turned around and they're sat down on the main stage, getting ready, set up. So did they win? Did they lose?
Don't know.
I guess we'll have to find out. But back to the CWL discussion, of course, we've found out earlier on we're going on some pretty exciting stops. Of course, we're going to be in Atlanta. There's going to be Anaheim. We're here in Las Vegas as well to kick things off. It's going to be a very, very exciting year, especially when you introduce the LAN League. But we actually have a fantastic interview talking all things CWL with Jack.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the start of day 2 of the CWL Vegas Open. The doors just opened. The matches haven't begun on the main stage, but I've got a very special guest with me here to talk a little bit about CWL 2017. Jay Puryear, Director of Brand Development and Esports at the CWL. Jay, it's a kickoff event. The season has now begun. Thoughts on it so far?
Look, here we are, like you said, day 2. I think if you look at yesterday with what we saw in not only the main stage, some of the crazy matches in pool play, it's going to be a tough year for these teams. And I think when you look at the quality that we're seeing in pool play, I'd be nervous if I'm, a team, because pool play is going to produce stuff, and like we've talked about many times, this is going to be an interesting year where there's a lot of teams that can win it.
Right now there was not a clear-cut winner this weekend. Optics already lost, obviously. FaZe and Envy have dropped a series so far, so that's cool to see. Some of the European teams making it out of that open bracket into pool play. The big theme of this year, the World League, more opportunities to play against different continents, different regions than ever before. Where will we see it next after this?
So for us, next up for us is Atlanta in February, which is going to be exciting. And then obviously we've talked about June already. So we're going back to Anaheim, which is a great event for us. But I think what we're all talking about and kind of most interested in is obviously April. Right? April, we're going to start the first LAN League for Call of Duty. And so I think everybody's looking at game battles. How are they earning pro points? And what is the LAN League going to bring this year? It's going to be crazy games, crazy teams, and tremendous storylines of, I think, teams and players really coming together and creating an awesome CWL year.
And I think that's a big thing, too. $4 million on the line this next year. Part of that coming in Atlanta this weekend at the LAN League, obviously in Champs. One thing to touch on, the pro point system has just kicked off. How's it working so far? The opportunities to earn it coming up to Champs, there's definitely a lot of ways players can get involved.
And I think that's what was really important with us this year, is for everybody out there who wants the opportunity to come to these events, to participate, hop on a game battle, start earning your CWL points, find 3 of your friends, and start playing, right? And that's really what it's about, is really opening up the opportunity for everybody to come to these events and participate, and who knows where, some of these teams are going to come from, and, we might even see a few of you guys at COD Champs.
That's the most exciting thing. Get out there and play this weekend at the CWL Vegas Open. $100,000 on the line, 172 teams. Jay, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure, my friend. For now, though, take it away, gentlemen.
Wonderful to hear all things CWL this year. It's going to be an exciting one, as we heard. $4 million on the line, and starts here in Las Vegas. LAN League as well. The Call of Duty has grown so much since back in the day, where playing in hotel ballrooms.
Man, that's what I was saying. We might have to go back to the next year, maybe tomorrow. Who knows?
You still have it? You still have the skills?
I still got it for sure.
Yeah, I know TP has it.
Still have it? Slower hard point. That's okay.
Slower hard point. Yeah, you're like, I got this. I can definitely compete. But all in all, it is going to be a very, very exciting year.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see who is going to come out on top. I mean, you look at COD Champs, it just always seems to be it's like Christmas for Call of Duty almost. It's just everything gets so exciting around there. I would love to say, who do you think is going to take it? But obviously, way too early in the game to have any.
Don't do that, Ben.
No, I mean, for example, first big event of the year, we already have Optic and Envy and Losers Bracket. Who saw that coming? But it's been a wonderful event so far here in Las Vegas, and we actually had an update as well. EG did win that Game 5, Round 11. So they're going to be coming into this next series a little hot against LG potentially. It was always good coming off a win. Does that maybe change your predictions from earlier on potentially, or no, not so much?
I mean, this group to me, a lot of these teams are just so balanced. I mean, Luminosity loses to Allegiance. Evil Geniuses beats Allegiance. You know, they're just going back and forth. I don't think it does change it because to me, I mean, it just comes down to the skill that Luminosity has.
I would agree with that completely. I mean, it doesn't change my prediction. I'll be honest about it. I think LG is they should stop out EG in the response, and that's what I'm expecting to happen.
It's been an interesting day, though, and I feel like anything could happen.
Yeah.
That's what's so beautiful about the first couple of events in a brand new game. For now, though, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we return, we're going to be kicking off LG versus EG. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG Vegas Open. Benson on the analyst desk, joined by the wonderful Merc and the amazing TP for this next matchup. We've got LG versus EG on the main stage. And during the commercial break, you two, you tried to do the maths for exactly what could happen here.
The maths.
Potential three. All right, sorry, the math. There you go. Makes you feel more at home. On exactly how this group could break out, because there is a potential for a three-way tie.
Yep.
Obviously, if EG was to lose, as it stands, they're 2-0 up in that pool. We actually have wonderful graphics for you guys at home as well, just to keep track, because it has been a crazy kind of day with all kind of different possibilities and whatnot. But here are a quick look. We'll for now at least focus down on that bottom right, Pool D. As it stands, Allegiance sit 2-1. Luminosity 1-1. Colt, they're out of it. Sorry, 0-3. That's what you get when you go 0-3. EG though 2-0. Now, Merc, if your calculations are correct,
If they are correct.
if they are correct, EG simply needs to win one map, and they will progress through. That is all they need to do. For LG, any win and they go through, obviously.
Yes, they have to win.
Now, if LG lose, that would just mean that EG goes through with Allegiance.
Yep.
Unless they win one map.
Correct.
Okay, so crazy, crazy calculations. Everywhere else, at Pool A, Team Envy 1 and 2, Ghost of Crew 1 and 1, FaZe Clan 2 and 1. So that 100% solidifies FaZe will go through. It's just where will they go through? Will it be first or second?
Yep.
Pool B, Rise 2 and 1, Optic 1 and 2, Team Revenge 0 and 2, E6 out of nowhere 2 and 0. So E6 100% guaranteed to go through in that one as well. It's been a crazy day. It really has, and potential for even more craziness. The rig draft underway for Evil Geniuses versus Luminosity. EG on the left, LG on the right. Could we see maybe FTL jump? Oh, we do.
There it is.
Okay, okay. Are you a fan of that one, Merc, so far at this event?
You really haven't seen it use it too effectively. Really what it can be used for is to just sort of juke an opponent, stay alive. I mean, I guess what I can kind of see is that you get it more often than some of these, so you can make that play a few times a game.
Well, it seems as if map number 1 about to get underway. Just to reiterate, all Evil Genius need to progress through is one map, and they will go through in this group into bracket play. For now, that we can send it over to our wonderful casters of the series.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. I've been spending a lot of time with Chance here. We casted our first match. We then were on analysis together for the E6 dismantling of Optic, and now we're casting again. If EG is going to take a map, what do you think it'll be?
Well, I'm inclined to say Search, just because, like, Study can take over with the Sniper. Havoc, obviously known for Search and Destroy. Nagafen, really good at Search and Destroy. And I think Nameless so far in IW has been the best Search and Destroy player on their team. But it's a weird composition. But SMG is where I'd hedge my bets.
I believe Nameless went 15 and 6 against Complexity in Game 5. So he had one hell of a performance to get them to this 2-0 spot. But EG starting out nicely here, has 11-0 advantage on the first bridge hard point. Halfway through, watching Nagafen as he's out to a 2-0 start. And just being a pass with this MB4, putting shots down at range.
Well, nicely they have 20 points. You're going to see Luminosity creep towards this hill one last time, but again, it's all about those rotations. It looks like Havoc's going to be the first one to go over. You can see he's already getting the cuts. He's focused on bedroom, but Luminosity doesn't seem to mind too much. Of course, 7 seconds in that hill is going to bump over, and that's where Havoc is going to be leaning. So Luminosity a bit behind on this rotation, but again, if they get the break, they'll be just fine.
Well, I want to see if Study might be able to get in behind. Depending on the timing of this, he might, well, actually, I think he's going to get shot in the back. that was the opposite of how I thought that was going to go. Thought he might be able to flank through, but that's going to be 3 down for EG, and now a chance for Luminosity to rack up some time. And Nagafen at least able to pick up 2. But LG, let's get down to lower street as they're going to deal with some pressure coming in from Market.
Well, you see Slacked already in a pretty powerful position. He's going to be controlling steps by himself and relying on his teammates to make sure that they have both bedroom and plat covered. And it looks like Octane is going to be able to do just that. He's able to pick up 2. And again, worth mentioning those Slacked on that 3 streak, creeping closer and closer to those 4 streaks, which completely can change the game.
I mean, the only positive you really have if you're EG, you're not getting a break here, you're giving up all this time, is you at least do have you have the spawn you want for the next hard point when we get to Cathedral. But they lost basically a full 60 to LG here. They do a brilliant job holding lower street. Now the question is, can they break? So that's going to fall over to Classic as he's trying to push. He's not able to do it. Next man up, I think, was Saints, who may have an opportunity to find some kills. Found one, not able to gun the second. But it's just Study to remain, actually, here. Now, look at the spawn. So, because of that gunfight goes down, I think his teammates spawn with still 1 player up. Both sides both sides of the 3 end up kind of spawning out and having to rotate over. So, it ends up Study racking up some time. And now EG still looks poised to get the hold here.
Yeah, Luminosity, of course, you see number 6, Saints. He's going to be playing very patiently, avoiding getting picked off as well, waiting for his teammates to come in for support, and now the entire team is making moves. You see 3 players diving in, and it's just Study that's left alone in the hill. He's able to pick up 1. He's got 2 more to deal with, and he's going to fall. And that is a picture-perfect way you want to break this hill. That is Luminosity taking back over. 23 seconds left on this hill, and it looks like EG is already content to completely give up on that time, and they're going to be focusing on Broken.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, if they didn't get the break there, they had what? They had the 1 push in the rotation. They then had that attempt. If they didn't get it, they probably would have given up and just gone to Broken. I mean, you didn't really get another shot at that. They got it with about 30 seconds. So now let's hop over to Broken. Bridge, that'll be Nameless kind of picking up the push from across. Watching the lower street push will be Nagafen, who gets dropped. But this is back-to-back hard points where at least EG, I guess, is set up a little bit earlier here to make a play. But if Luminosity can continue to get the breaks they need, they'll continue to hold this edge.
And you talk about breaks, you can already see just how far Study spawned out. Luminosity did a good job pushing 3 up. It is going to force the spawns out. Still 1 player left alive for EG. Coming to the back, Nagafen's going to be able to pick up 1. He desperately needs to stay alive as his team is coming through. Slack's going to take him down. So LG going to be in control for the moment. Of course, there are going to be 3 red arrows surrounding. So it looks like Nagafen actually did just enough to buy time for his team to get back over to control Broken.
Yeah, that split second where he stayed alive right before dropping is enough to get a favorable spawn for his side. Now trailing by 10 points or so. EG starting to spark the rally here. Nameless inside, pushed out front, I believe, is Nagafen. I want to see what his point of view looks like, but he gets dropped. All 3 just get shredded. So that's a break for LG, but not before some damage was done for the side of EG. Now we got 5 seconds here, so we're going to rotate over to Hotel Hallway. Saints already inside. Him and Classic both finding a kill. Going to be 1 more pushing through the back. If he would have got a hit marker with that grenade, probably finds the kill, but didn't realize he was pushing through.
Yeah, I mean, close game so far. EG has probably been a little bit better with the rotations again, giving up decent amounts of scrap time just to make sure they can focus, but LG has done an even better job of breaking through these setups that they have. So, again, just something to keep in the back of your mind as we move towards this second half of these rotations. Either way, though, Luminosity in control of the hill just for the moment. Got Classic sitting inside.
Yeah, I mean, props to EG so far is, like you said, kind of rotating early, but if Luminosity can continue to get these breaks, it works out okay. It works in your favor. Now, 6th Street for Classic. He's only 10-9, so really started to come alive here. And he's 75 off the bombardment, then maybe able to work towards the Warden. We saw Warden pulled out, what, and Scorch earlier. And, oh, God, Classic. That's a team kill plus 2 more, but he's 125 off the Warden. Please play safe, bud. Get this Warden. I love them. They're terrifying.
The Warden, of course, we know if he gets that, is at least going to force the other team just to completely switch their classes, and he's already got 2 streaks to work with. Now, he's got 0 seconds left. He can stay alive right here, not challenge his gunfight, and call in the streaks just to get some extra points. It looks like he's going to be coming up to behind players, though. He's going to have a gunfight in front of him. The player's not turned the right direction, just needs 25 more points. I think he's going to play it safe and just use the streaks. If he gets 1 kill, he is going to get that Warden.
Now, we talked a little bit about this, and there's the kills. The Warden's going to be used during this one. He's going to call it in right now, actually. Let's talk a little bit about it, because you mentioned how you end up putting on blind eye, so you're not going to be spotted by the Warden. But what does that change for a lot of these players? Does it depend on the class? Well, let's go for here. Let's actually check and see. They're trying to take it out with the OSA right now.
Well, it could be a desperate situation, right? If they don't have a blind eye class, and you can see Nagafen's already dying. They have to shoot it down if they don't have blind eye, and that's 2 players we've seen so far trying to shoot it down. So it looks like they actually were collectively able to drop that. You see the scrap assist popping up on your screen. So again, different strategies can go in. You can pull in blind eye, or you can just say, hey, everybody, make sure to shoot it down. But still, the Warden, it took them out of the game for 20, 25 seconds.
Would have scored out.
Yeah, forced them to go for that instead, and what, a 90-point difference between these 2 teams.
Yeah, so I think it was Envy we saw opted to go basically putting blind eye in all their classes, right? And that kind of takes away, I think, what did we end up seeing them change when they put on blind eye? I know we were talking about it a little bit earlier. It was Blast Shield we saw for most of them?
Yeah, it's you're changing perk 1, so you're either going to switch away from Dexterity or switch away from Blast.
Dexterity, that was the other one. That's what I couldn't think of.
And occasionally you'll see, they're taking off like tax or nades or something like that, but something is going to get opened up again just because of that 1 streak.
All right, well, the Warden does its damage. And now it's 19-11 for Saints. He's on a 6 streak here. They only need 25 more points. And this is where, I guess coming into the event, I expected Luminosity to be very scary. It was the hard points. When they dropped 1 on Friday, I tweeted out, I said, if they continue to lose these, it's going to be a very short weekend. But they've definitely come alive in this particular game mode, and they are smashing EG. It does not look like this is going to be that one map win they need unless a miracle occurs.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back, Allegiance, when they took them down in the first hardpoint, that was the first map that had been played all event. So, you know, full credit to Allegiance. They played fantastic. And again, their hopes ride on how this match turns out about whether or not they're going to get through. But again, one bad hardpoint from Luminosity, but since then, they've been absolutely crushing.
And they're probably going to close it out here as they have Cathedral set up, and Saints lines up 2 brilliant shots there, dealing with any pressure through Hotel. And as time ticks away, this one is all but done. EG kind of walloped here. Luminosity putting on an incredible performance here in hardpoint.
Yeah, I mean, even there you saw at the end, Saints is just pre-aiming where these players are forced to come from before they get there. So, again, full experience these guys have in hardpoint. They are just cruising right along. But I expected result. I would say EG definitely, they just need to win the search and destroys, and that's pretty much what they're hoping on, and then they got to pull off the uplink as well.
Yeah, and you got to think, I mean, I don't really feel good about the respawns in general kind of for EG in this matchup, so I think the uplink will definitely be scary. Game 2 is do or die then for me. You have to win this if you're EG, you're getting 3-0. I really feel that way strongly. Who needs to go off for this? I know you talked about the fact that there's a lot of talented people on the EG side when it comes to search and destroy, but if you had to pick one person in particular here to kind of go big, is it Nameless?
I was about to say, if he went, what, 15-6, you said, back in the earlier match they had, all the way to round 11 against Complexity. And Complexity, a very good search and destroy team we've seen so far as well. Actually, they dismantled Luminosity. Well, not dismantled. They beat him 6-4 on retaliation. But if you want to give Complexity the edge over Luminosity, and then they got taken down by EG, EG should have the edge. But again, with a backbone performance coming out of Nameless.
Well, let's take a look at kind of our map order here as we get into the series. You already saw retaliation in the books. Luminosity takes it. Coming up next is going to be Scorch, S&D, Throwback Uplink, Breakout Hardpoint, and Crusher, Search and Destroy, 4 or 5, obviously, if needed. If this series continues anything like that Game 1, things could get out of hand quickly. Scorch, though, as a map, with the different skill sets you have for these players, do you feel good about this map for EG when you're talking about Scorch? I know a little bit more offensive favored.
This is where the EG team composition just seems weird to me, because we've seen it twice so far. Formal's pulled out the sniper on Scorch and done very well with it. I think they beat Team Revenge 6-0.
Well, 4 snipers here for EG.
Well, maybe, honestly. No, not quite. There's no overkill, so bad idea. But then Reedy did the same thing as well. So if you want a sniper on the team of EG, who do you pick, Nagafen or Study?
I haven't watched enough of their search to know what the answer has been. I mean, that's what Jack and I, when we saw this team come together, we joked. We're like, oh, all 4 of them might as well pull it out, because we've seen Nameless snipe pretty well at times. I mean, not maybe in the caliber of those two, but it'll be interesting to see how they decide to play it, because I know Study at least has been at one point considered the best sniper in the game. Havoc too, we've seen, especially just on his stream, what he's done in some games. He's disgusting with it as well. So you have a lot of options here, and I do think, honestly, from offense or defense, the sniper gets the plays done. You saw that matchup between John and Reedy earlier, where they were kind of going at each other. And the sniper provided, it seemed like, better than half of the first bloods that we saw in that particular game.
Yeah, so I mean, really, the style of how EG is going to play is probably the biggest question mark for me. Again, the opportunities or options are endless for them, but there's probably going to be a lot of things that just aren't going to be successful. And obviously, they've been playing for a long time. I'm sure they have most of these kinks worked out. But again, a do or die, you want to make sure that you're firing on all cylinders, or you're going to get punished.
Do you think we're going to see any action towards A? I don't think we saw, the last time we casted, I don't know that we saw a single A plant.
At some point, the bomb will get rotated in that direction. Whether or not the bomb goes down on A, I'm not too sure. But at least off the rip, we've seen it once so far this entire tournament. Again, teams taking it to A. So B is going to be favored.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's probably the most favorite bomb set we have on any of the maps right now. At least it seems like it from the couple matches we've casted so far. It's just been completely be dominant, but since obviously it got moved forward, like you said, 15 feet or so towards the drill, it's changed dramatically. But let us know your thoughts on Twitter. Who you guys think is going to take this? Predictions. What are you going with? Does EG get the one map they need here?
I think they'll pull it off about 6-3, 6-2. Luminosity, when we've seen them play Search and Destroy, they do the exact same thing pretty much every single round. So as soon as you can figure that out, I haven't seen them make any small adjustments in game at all, at least when it comes to the S&D again. So as long as EG keeps their head on their shoulders and actually put some thought into how they're playing this game, I think they should be just fine.
Well, taking a look at this, do you see anything that jumps out? You see Overdrive for Study, FTL jump for Octane. The only real difference is coming across here. Is there any that you prefer in Search and Destroy?
It's one of those tough things. Again, FTL jump versus overdrive is the only really discussion we're pretty much going to have in Search and Destroy. The Centurion, it can work, but it's never really going to be happening that often. I would probably prefer the FTL jump. It might be a little bit better at getting you out of life or death situations than the overdrive. I don't know. What kind of rush can you do on a map where you're going to get across in 10 seconds anyway? But either way, bit of expected strat. Again, this is the most basic thing you're going to see. Bomb's going down already. You see Study picking up a kill with the sniper. Havoc knows exactly what's happening. Study is going to find the second as well. So we talked about him taking over games with the sniper, and he is doing just that. Saints now in 1 versus 3.
And there it is, 3 snipes coming in from Study. So the question you asked was answered pretty quickly. You know what's actually humorous about that? As soon as I saw the first snipe come in, I wasn't sure who it was. I was like, who do I go to? I was like cycling between all the players trying to figure out. I ended up getting Havoc as he flies over to get the bomb carrier, but we know it is going to be Study here. And I'm curious, actually, now with him getting 3 kills, I wonder if we're going to see him pulling it out on the other end as well. Shocker.
I mean, again, it goes back to Luminosity. They do Search and Destroy very, very standard. So there's plenty of spots where Study is likely to get a pick. It looks like, well, Slack actually, he's going to know where Study's going as well. So they both had the right idea, but Slack gets the shot off first.
Oh, what is this?
Is apparently sniping too. We got 4 snipers on EG, it almost seems like. But either way, back and forth, still the 3v3 situation.
I can't catch one of the snipes from the correct POV. I'm picking it up from the flip, at least the person getting sniped. But now it's going to be Havoc and Nameless going up against Octane and Classic here in a 2v2 in round 2. Havoc was very close to having eyes on one in the back, I believe. Nameless is going to be your bomb carrier in observation deck. He's getting tagged through the back.
I didn't know about that.
I had no idea that was even possible.
I'm making a mental note of that and taking it into.
Was he shot? I mean, he was shot through the glass on the left, right? No one was coming in behind him. I guess. No.
No. He got shot through the glass in the back. Yeah.
He died right after. Okay.
We just saw 4 snipers, by the way.
I was incredibly confused when we saw that POV for the last kill because I guess they died pretty much at the same time there. Okay. How many do you think we have now? Let's check.
6.
Cycle through.
Not quite.
6, right? Study looks like he's still going to have 1. Let's go to the other side. Slacked is putting it away for now. Looks like it's just going to be Study here.
Well, yeah, you can see the Luminosity already completely mixing up the strats, going mid-map, so I like the adjustment. They know Study, he's perfectly fine with sniping the entire game on both sides of the bomb. So now the mid-map strat, they're going to be pushing through. They got to deal with Havoc. Of course, Study has those players preempt anyway. Going to try and get a kill with the pistol. Pretty nice trigger finger. No, he is going to get jumped over, and that is why you do not want the pistol in those gunfights. Slack coming out on top, leaving Nameless in this 1 versus 2.
That is the difficulty of having a sniper pistol combo. Not the best at that kind of range. And now it's just going to fall to Nameless, who gets tagged up almost immediately, so they're going to know his position. And now bomb has been planted. He opts to re-peek and challenge. Can't win that gunfight. And that'll be another round here for EG.
And again, already like what I'm seeing from LG. They mixed up the strats from round 1.
Right.
Well, every single round, right? They just had a previous round on defense where they had 2 snipers. Slack and Classic both had it. Of course, maybe Classic picked it up off the ground. Can't be
I think
sure
that's
about
probably.
that.
I think that's probably what happened. Yeah.
Either way, though, they're happy to mix it up. Went to B one time on offense, switched it up, went mid to next. So different stuff we're seeing. Of course, though, back on offense, it is going to be EG looking to strike back, tie this one up at 2-2.
All right, let's watch Nagafen here early. Going to get trophies out. You see via X-ray 1 in on deck and 1 in the back. Likely sniper, at least trying to get nades in. So the plant is going to get down quickly here. Trophy able to provide coverage, and they'll have 4 up now. It's going to be on LG to try and play the retake.
Yeah, so earlier with the exact same strat, we saw what EG did. They made sure to kill the bomb planter. They fly over top because he doesn't have his gun out. LG, though, they are content with letting the bomb get planted. Octane able to get that first blood as well. Nades coming in over to attack Havoc. You see both players are going to be there. That was the bait and switch, but didn't matter because they got the kill anyway. Nameless again. He's the last one alive, needing the clutch, and the player has already hopped on the bomb. Nameless, he has a lot that he needs to do. Start checking it with the nade. The nade's not going to connect, I don't believe, in the bomb. Going to get diffused.
Well, it connects a little bit late, right? If it would have picked up the kill, that might have been a sick 1v3. But it looks like Blast Shield in play there as he will survive the grenade onto the bomb site. And now 3-1 is going to be the edge, and that one elusive map that EG needs seems to be slipping away early in this search and destroy. Slack going to bring it back out. I'm going to check real quick back to Study. Not going to happen.
not going to connect with anything just yet over B. EG playing very aggressively on this bomb site, and again, Slacked, you can see LG, they're just going for picks, and actually have 2 players that are going to be pushing out the A bomb site, and of course, EG completely stacked up right now. It looks like they do recognize that LG has backed away from B, so they're making that rotation, leaving Nameless by himself over by B, though. Luminosity trying to get the bomb down.
Yeah, maybe we'll actually see that plant at A as the pressure comes in. Octane from both sides. If he would have turned for just a moment, the timing ends up being horrific. But now you do a rewind. You don't see him. Slack below. Not able to find the kill yet. Flying forward with a pistol. Somehow gets one. Going to be 1v3. He does have rewind. I don't know how he pulls this off with the sniper pistol combo, but we've seen crazier things.
So another one of the reasons you see teams don't go to A very often, aside from the fact that it's a longer walk to get there, when you're in A, there's so many different places the enemy can come from. They can hit the wall run, long haul. There's 2 different entrances to the bottom of the base, and they have the entrance in the back. Meanwhile, if you're at B, they can come from one side or the other, and you can just cut both of those lanes off, and you will figure out everything very, very quickly. So multiple reasons why A is going to be a little bit tougher to get to, and that's going to cost Luminosity around.
Well, big round for EG. Certainly a needed one. That 3-2 looks a whole hell of a lot better than 4-1. Havoc pushing through mid-map. Wants to get aggressive up off the high wall run. There's right to his corner. He's got it there. He just saw a glimmer. Now he's able to... No, doesn't find it. You think that's a gunfight. He's surely going to win. It does get traded out at least. I thought surely that he gets. Now the bomb going to be planted. Remember, Slack does have rewind to work with. I'm curious if maybe... he tries to make an aggressive play, but when you have the pistol here, not the easiest to... Well, now the snipe coming out and trying to find the angle. Oh, he saw some glimmer for a second there. Payload does get used, though. Be able to shut down the payload. 2 versus 2. He saw one more. He's going to challenge this. Oh, not able to hit the shot, and both will drop. 3-3. EG coming alive.
So the previous round, when the bomb got planted by EG, what Luminosity did is they just attacked the bomb, went like crazy. You know, Slack came sliding in with the pistol, making sure to get the bait and switch, but they played very, very aggressive on the bomb site. And the reason it worked is because the player watching the flank for EG hadn't wrapped back around that. That time they played a bit more passively, and you see Studdy was able to come back and support his teammates. So the aggression that paid off the first time, we just did not see the second. Either way, though, it is going to be LG back on the attack.
Let's see what's going on with Saints. He's 0-5 to start this one off. Not having the best search and destroy here, but they're still luckily tied up at 3-3. But look, there's some pressure coming through mid-map. He is going to get hit or find a free kill, depending on the say. They check the bottom, and he's in trouble. Tries to turn, actually almost somehow wins that, but the swarm pushing through hangar ends up catching him. One player still playing on the other side is going to be Studdy. So the bomb does get planted. They have to work to defuse, but they do have the man advantage. They all wrap back. So instead of all hitting the flank, they're all going to fly out together. There's one. Can they trade it? No, it's actually going in LG's favor. Havoc, though, is going to end up using his rewind to stay alive. He's won that one. Now in a 1v2. He should be able to get this kill at close range. He saw the other in the back, I believe. Now a chance for the 1v3, but can't get it done. Does Slack hit the snipe there? I think it was. I think it was Slacked in the back.
Slack with the pistol.
Oh.
Not simple. But I like what EG did. You saw they sent 3 players back mid-map, so instead of the pinch, they went back and they were trying to play the B-bomb side aggressively, trying to slide in and take the kills, and I think they did everything right, except for the part where Octane got a 3-piece. So, again, if you're going to trade those kills, you need to make sure you actually kill the person, but got to give huge props to Octane on that one. Going on a 3 streak as well.
Well, let's go over to Octane then, see what he can do. He's real close to the FTL jump. He's got vision in the back, trying to do damage with the NV4. And who got Classic pushed up in a big way. He's very, very aggressive here, but able to win the gunfight. Octane, though, does drop in the back, and now you see the camo come out. There's one right below him. Surely he's going to see it, able to find it. I think he knows there's one more here. He's going to win that as well as Classic going off, working the ace. One more left. His teammate looks to be hunting it down, but depending on his angle, he might be right in front, and there's the ace. Unless it was stolen from him, from the player inside OBSEC.
Really just beautiful play, though, by Classic. Pretty much single-handedly winning his team that round. Again, active camo is so incredibly powerful in this game. You're pretty much just straight up invisible. You can't even really hear the person. So near impossible to win a gunfight against someone using that. And, of course, again, Classic was able to pick up either 2 or 3 that round. But, again,
I think Classic picked up, I think, all 4.
Well, there you go. Now just 1 round away from going up 2-0 in the series.
Let's get back to Classic, actually. I'm pretty sure he got all 4 there. Because you saw the intro kill when he was up close and aggressive. He got the 2 with the camo, and then finally pushed through the back to get the 1 with Slacks. And now working on this plant as well. He'll get closer and closer to Camo and also potentially Trinity Rockets if needed, but he gets dropped pretty much immediately. Going to be a 3v4 with bomb planted for LG. Now just 2 left, Saints and Slacked. Slack playing close with this pistol. He's going to need some help. Let's go over to Saints' POV because he might get the drop on 1 or 2. Did you not see him in the corner? He didn't see him in the corner. Now 4 drop.
And that's the second time we've seen that. Poor coverage on the bomb planter. So Classic got killed over top from Havoc, and Havoc literally just flew out over top.
Round 1 as well.
Yeah, the exact same play made. Of course, that time Classic was actually able to get the bomb down. But again, it goes back to that slight adjustment things. They need to make sure to at least have that covered. As soon as that cross happens, you need to be shooting at Havoc in the sky. And Havoc was able to pick up the second kill as well.
Those are really frustrating deaths if you're the bomb carrier, too. Those start to wear on you. Saints, by the way, even though they're up by 4, still has not found a kill. Maybe this will be his time to get it done. But let's see, what do we have available? So we do have Rewind for Havoc. Octane's got the FTL jump. You think Rewind will probably be a bigger player in this one, especially if he's getting challenged with map. And he just gets out of there with his life right away. And it does lead to a kill. I thought it might not lead to anything, but it gets traded out almost immediately. Getting back over to the LG side. Because Mayhem here mid-map, Nameless might be able to find one. He does get it through. And this is EG's chance to push it to around 11. They have the man advantage. He should be dead to rights in a second here, surely. No, he cannot turn and find a kill. No way. He doesn't pick it up. Close to happening, though, and it will now be a 2v2. Nagathon going to be working on the plant here, Chance.
Nameless also did see both of those players, so the call was to get that bomb down immediately. Nagathon, you see, is going to be cutting off one part of the map, and he's going to be working with his teammates' study. So we'll get an opportunity to see exactly how these guys are playing it, and they're playing it by literally just running all the way to spawn.
Interesting. Playing their lives here, so let's go. I think the first person to engage would likely be Study with Octane. Let's go to Study's POV. He's going to be on the backside pushing forward, gets tagged up, but somehow still alive. Turns the pistol. What did he just do to Octane? One more to deal with, and can't get away with the overdrive, so it's going to fall to Classic, and he's got time. EG toast here in game 2.
What an impressive game by Classic as well. He was like kind of quiet early on. I think he was sitting at like 4 and 5 or something like that. And then he picked up the ace using the camo, able to clutch that in the end as well. So impressive stuff by LG. And again, every map matters right now. EG needs to win 1 just to make sure that they're guaranteed to get to, through to pool play. But that might be a struggle.
And he tried that, kind of AW dash he used with the overdrive. You see Zuma do that quite a bit and find kills in a 1v1, but the angle of it kind of just shot him straight back. It's still a pretty easy kill for LG, and they take it 6-4. So, okay, what was it? What did Mochilla tweet exactly? I think he said if EG win the series, they're good, or if LG 3-0s, they're good for Allegiance. So right now, I believe they're still looking okay. If they can close out here in the uplink, that is. So then EG would be the one, not groups, obviously, as we talked about them needing 1 map.
Probably.
For some reason, I told it from Allegiance's point of view instead. I don't know why,
but probably. I'm not entirely sure. That is an incredibly complicated process. I'm going to let much smarter people than myself figure that out. Is it worth mentioning, though? Saints did drop a donut. His team still won, though. Does not matter. Someone has to be the bait, and apparently he was able to do so effectively enough. So you can't complain, honestly. He joined the agency, but he also joined the winning team. So what can you really say?
I actually forgot. I highlighted a couple times to get 0-5 and 0-7. I didn't realize in the last round he didn't find one. I believe we're going to take a look at a highlight here from Classic. He had that ace. He was up close and personal, finds one. I think this is when he hits the camo almost immediately. Gets in behind. Well, this player gets in behind. The second challenge is pretty much immediately. I was surprised to see that. Just a soaring out at him, and then he hunts the last kill down for the ace. Like you said, that's where he kind of comes alive. 4 and 6 to 8 and 6, and then continues the streak. I mean, if him and Slack don't have those monster games, I mean, you kind of have to have, well, all 3 players really did to kind of pick up the slack there from Saints.
Yeah, and just to stress the importance of the active camo, from the 3rd player that challenged right after his teammate died just behind control, he doesn't realize that he's been spotted again because that player was invisible. So he never saw him fly across. So he thinks that players came from Cliff and that, once you kill someone in control, you start pushing up to the bomb because he thinks he's flanking. He has no idea the Classic was just invisible, has all that information. So again,
they saw
active
him
camo
and he's across the side already.
Yeah, exactly. It helps with gunfights, it helps with being sneaky, and it helps with just other people making bad decisions because they don't have near the amount of information that you do. So again, incredibly powerful payload is that active camo. And then you have things like FDL jump that we didn't even see it used. We saw the overdrive get popped at the end, but that's really just Study trying to stay alive, and there's only so much that can be done.
Well, we thought that the S&D was certainly their best chance. We know Hardpoint probably LG's best game mode, but as we get into uplink, have you seen EG play much? Do you think they have a chance to stack up against LG in this?
Again, LG has the hot hand. They're the Slay heavy team. EG in the hardpoint could not keep up at all. I'm going to go ahead and say this is most likely going to be a 3-0. But again, EG, they only need to win one map to get through. So it's not about the series win. It's literally just all about this next throwback uplink.
Yeah, and I think it ends here. I do think we're going to see a 3-0. We had some crazy series kind of kick the day off. Then Optic got kind of 3-0, just crushed by E6. Yeah. Now we might see Luminosity do the same thing here to EG. Interesting start to the day, but we still have a lot of matches. I think after this, we're, just halfway through? I know there's a bit of a delay with some technical stuff earlier, so we still have a lot of Call of Duty to go. Just waiting on these guys to get this one started, and we'll get into the action. But, yeah, I think I'm with you. LG is going to close this out. I just don't know. You kind of nailed this on the head. This is kind of what Jack and I were saying, too. When you talk about EG, it's just sort of a strange team. Like the group of guys that are together, it sort of feels a little bit odd with their skill sets. But you got to think maybe Nameless is the one to kind of keep this unit together, the one to come up big, the guy that can kind of do it all, whether it's search, in the respawns. He has to be a monster for them, I think, in this Game 3 to have a chance.
I mean, not only that, but he's also most likely the in-game leader. Because, I mean, when you talk about veterans of the Call of Duty scene, he's been playing Call of Duty longer than a lot of Call of Duty fans have been alive. Like, he's been back around since, I believe, Call of Duty 2. And I don't even know what number Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is, but we're in, like, the 10s now, somewhere around there. So, when you talk about in OG, and I'm talking about original gangster, not, like, Optic Gaming, of the Call of Duty community, Nameless is your guy.
No, he really is. And needing him to go big. You got a score prediction for me? You think we might see here as we hop in uplink?
Throwback uplink, generally a little bit lower scoring. I think, though, Luminosity, I don't know, like 12-2.
Yeah, I think the first one we cast today was a 5-4 game or something. Very, 1-1 at half. It was very, very low scoring.
It's up to the team that is like the team that's spawning on Barnside. Depending on how passive they play, they can really bring the game down to like a screeching halt. So it depends on the style that these teams want to go about. But again, when you talk about Nameless, he a lot of time, well, everyone rocks the AR in this game, but in the past he's been an AR. And on the flip side of things, kind of his matchup is going to be against Octane. And what a terrifying player Octane is capable of being. We even saw glimpses of it back in that Search and Destroy when EG made the perfect play, but they ran straight into Octane and he just picks up a three-piece like it's nothing. So, devastating player.
Yeah, this team, I mean, you expected them to be very strong early on in this game just because you have most of that Rise Nation team that was very good at the beginning of Black Ops 3, right? They seemed to adapt to the game very quickly. They got a couple event wins, or even that long run they had in Stage 1 against Optic Gaming in the final that goes those full 7 games. They performed very well at the beginning of the game, fell off a little bit towards the middle and end, sure, but they started strong. So I'm not surprised to see Luminosity playing great here. How do you like this team compared to the Rise Nation squad? Having Saints in for Looney, what do you like about that dynamic, or do you prefer maybe the former Rise Nation squad?
Well, I mean, Looney's been looking good in this game as well, so it's hard to say that Saints is a guaranteed improvement. And I know something TP and Merc were talking about is the in-game leadership that Looney brings, and it's kind of tough to predict who the shot caller is now going to be for this Luminosity squad. So I think it's one of those things that it just remains to be seen. I mean, that team was top 4 on paper with Looney, with Saints. I think they're still right in that conversation, but they were having problems just breaking through and being that #1 team. So, I mean, I guess in effect, something has to be done. If you want to be the #1 team, you got to make a change.
Well, we're talking about Saints, the one sticking with Luminosity and bringing in the 3 new players. Let's see what he is able to do. As we start off this, he's going to be wrapping from the outside back to mid-map. Should be able to come behind 1 or 2 here, but gets gunned by Nameless. That's actually 4 down, so we may have an opportunity for a 1-pointer here pretty quickly off the break.
Well, and this is also one of the positions where you can set up for the spawn trap. Actually, you see as soon as Nameless falls, he's going to go ahead and toss that drone down and set up for some kills. And you can already see, though, EG playing very passively about this situation. They had 2 players just kind of hanging out mid-map, waiting for Luminosity to push up. So they go ahead and concede any potential points they were going to get. And again, trying to make sure that they keep as much control of the map as they possibly can. Either way, though, Luminosity, when all the gunfights cleared out their base, now they are going to be on the attack.
Now they'll start to push this up towards Lemon, get a bit of control. You see on X-Ray a couple players in the back, but Saints able to win 1, win 2, open up things in Grandma's house, and now they're going to try and fly in. It's all about Saints to try and pick up something in the back. He's not able to do it, and that does not leave the opening for the 1-point toss to get off, so we'll still sit here at 0-0, and they want to take it out through field. So we'll see if the Luminosity side can kind of wrap over, as they're going to have to deal with it on kind of the weak side. So far, they've been able to do so. Nameless does have 1 to his right. Sees his teammate drop, not able to win that. But enough damage done there from Luminosity to get the reset. Now they're starting to push forward.
Yeah, and again, I think this goes back to just Luminosity. They have a lot of that slaying power. They're going to be winning a lot of these kind of 50-50 gunfights. So EG backs against the wall. Again, as we said, they need to win a map to get through the pool play, most likely at the very least. Luminosity still on the attack. Again, this is the common strategy we see from this side. You just toss that drone up to Lemon, fight for a little bit of control, and then you can pretty much hit the one-point toss off of Grandma's or try and force it, well, through the building itself.
Yeah, they tried once, got in range there to get a one-point toss, but got shut down with some clever defense from the EG side. Now getting pushed is Slack, not able to win it. Saints drops at about the same time, so maybe an opportunity for EG to make a play, but not with Octane. Octane in the back finds two, pushes back the drone carrier. EG will maintain possession, but Octane's 2-piece shuts down any chance of points.
And that drone carrier is wrapping it all the way around the map. You can see number 7 on the minimap, Slack. He's going to be that player that was in the mid-trains, and Study actually is going to be watching that cut, but they're electing to wrap back in their base is Luminosity, and they're going to be able to pick up all the kills again on the backbone of Octane, able to pick up 2.
Yeah, I thought Havoc might try to toss it forward and get gun up. Maybe he was hoping some whiff shots came in, and he'd be able to make a play and get a one-pointer through, but not able to do so. Another drone carrier gets shut down. Saints there trying to trade it, can't get it done. Drone just sitting in barn as everyone just trading back and forth, and finally we made... Nope, take it back. I was about to say this is a one-pointer. Nameless had other things to say. That's EG coming up twice, at least clutch on the defensive end.
Yeah, very defensive-sided match this so far has been. Either way, though, again, I think the most important thing right now for EG is just to keep control of everything that's going on. I think Luminosity has a bit of an easier time right now to score. Of course, though, they're going to be pushing up Lemon once again. Study, got to make these defensive plays.
We'll see what Slack's able to do here. They're coming around the back. This should be it. All right, 1 point on the board with 90 seconds left. And this is reminiscent, I swear, of our first match we casted today. The uplink, just very low scoring. 1-1 at half. No one really able to get control, but then it sort of erupted in the second half. We'll see if maybe a similar story here. Slack does end up dropping. 1 down for either side. Have you seen anything in particular you've liked from EG that maybe you give them a shot to take this respawn against LG, or with this 0 on the board, you still feel like it's complete LG control?
Well, LG is probably going to be able to get at least another one-point toss, if not the dunk right here. He's going to get body blocked on his way, so that drone is going to fall. Still, though, Luminosity on the attack, and the dunk is going to come in. I would say EG had done a decent job of, again, just slowing down the pace. It's something we saw Elevate do earlier on, but obviously that dunk is going to hurt just a little bit. Just kind of more of a mountain to climb going into that second side. Still, though, 43 seconds left.
Yeah, it may get uglier here, too. There's the one-pointer away and just nails the edge there for OLG. 1 point with 90 seconds remaining, and now they've put on 3 over the last 60. So once they got a little bit of control, Saints was kind of in the back of the spawn, forcing the spawn out, finding kills in from behind. They really were able to punish EG. The question is, can EG make any kind of play? It's going to be tough with Slack coming in from behind. He found the first, not able to find the second, but it slowed them down enough that I don't think we're going to see any more points going on the board.
Yeah, just 14 seconds left. A couple kills going to go down, but really I think, again, EG, they just needed to keep the pace slow, and I don't think 4 points is that bad. I think they could definitely make the comeback, but the reason it's easier to score from LG's side is because of all the one-point shots you can hit. It's a little bit tougher to do on the flip side of things. However, if you're on the attack with the side Luminosity is about to be on, there's a spawn trap you can set up. If you get under your opponent's portal, they go out by blue. And it's something that we don't see often. It's pretty difficult to pull off. However, the slaying power of Luminosity might very well be enough to do it.
Yeah, I was watching an MV scrim. I'm trying to think of who they were playing, but you saw it happen to them in a real bad way. They got pinned at blue, and I think I saw 12 points on the board in something like 60 seconds. They just got pounded once they got them trapped. You certainly can get it set up. We haven't seen it done yet. We'll see if LG can hold on the second half. That's a nice break for EG as they get 3 down pretty much immediately. The Slayers in front are going to be, I believe, Study was the first out. He's not able to find a kill. Next up will be Nameless. Drone going to be in the hands of Nagafin as Nagafin's waiting outside Grandma's. He tries to toss it up over the top, and he's able to actually put that through.
I did not know about that.
I wish that I jumped to that shot first earlier, because I have not seen that either.
Yep, just threw it straight over the Grandma Hill. You know, I watched a video before I even came to this of a guy showing off a bunch of different cool throws, but that was not one of them. So Nagafin's out here teaching us, and again, that's something Nagafin brings to the table. He just knows all of of these weird different things you can do in different game modes. He was that PO6 player, Black and Black Ops 3, when no one else really was too big of a fan of it. Nameless now has that drone in hand. It looks like he's going to give that to his teammate. Havoc's going to go for the same toss. So
the pick!
Strategy, but Classic making the adjustment, getting that interception. But that's, you know, if you don't get that interception, that's almost impossible to stop.
It really is. The interception's your only play. So I do like, I was going to say, if they're able to hit that shot, and it's something that LG wasn't really aware of, they're going to have to adapt very, very quickly, and they did. 20 seconds later, you already see them picking up the interception, seem to be a little bit prepared for it. But that might be the way that EG can kind of sneak back into this. If they can keep consistently pushing that side and getting off one-point tosses, you got to think eventually that interception is not going to come through.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just how important this game knowledge is. Again, this is the first major event we've had so far with IW, so players are still learning as well as casters. But again, it's one of those things that in all of Call of Duty, when you have a player that's 22 and 10, there's not too much you can happen. Of course, Study is able to pick up 2, making the defensive stop, but still, that slaying power seems to be just too much coming out of LG. Again, they have one player that's negative in Classic, but him and Slack nearly cancel out, and then Octane is plus 12, so looking good so far.
We've now had an interception from either side in the last 2 one-point throws. 3 minutes left to go, and EG at risk of being 3-0'd and losing their chance to play in the champ bracket. They'll have to do the loser's grind unless they can steal this one here. Still some time to work with. Let's switch over to Havoc's POV as he's mid-map for the OSA, but he gets dropped almost immediately. Nagafin here has 3 in a row. See if they can maybe get the drone back in his hand on Lemon's side to try and make a play. But one in behind is that was Classic and Slack. Actually, Slack found both the kills, so that's going to open things up. And now there's still one player mid-map, though. Havoc's the only one alive, but he's at least in a position to maybe slow down anyone from grabbing the drone. The fact he survived that long maybe prevents an opportunity of kind of a quick attack here when they had 3 down. But let's see what Octane tries to do. A little slow wall run up over the top, and the one-pointer's good.
And worse off right now, Luminosity is, well, nearly all in the base. The last one is going to be Classic. He's able to pick up 1. If he wins this gunfight, which he does, he's going to at least bait out that 3rd player. So LG, they still have complete map presence, all the control in the world, and they're still continuously going to be on the attack again. This is a 2-possession differential between these 2 teams. EG, they have their work cut out for them, and they're stuck in their base right now. Even if they win these gunfights, then they have to go back to mid-map and battle once again. Octane has that overdrive as well. Going to be zooming past players, and he's going to get the dunk in, and that just might be the final stamp on the game. LG taking that 7-1 lead.
And I know there's a decent amount of time left. That kind of feels like the nail in the coffin as they've gotten a bit of control here. It was all EG. I know they have 1 point on the board, but it was still all EG from a control aspect when they were getting those 1-point tosses off. Things looked pretty darn good, and then it's all fallen apart. That would have been a wild kill there from Slack. I guess he wasn't spotted when the player first pushed through. But now Havoc with an opportunity. Maybe he goes for the deep throw. It's up, it's away, it is short. As he tried kind of a long-range desperation one there.
Yeah, and I mean, we're at the point now where, again, that slaying power LG is about plus 16 in total kills. So we found the weakness of this EG squad, despite the pretty good performance. But again, I think this might be their turn, or they're going to be in the loser's bracket again. They're in the pool play, but I think they're going to be in the bottom 2. Still, though, 55 seconds left. Going to see just how high this score can get.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know if it's speaking to the weakness of EG, like you mentioned, or kind of the strength of LG. It's a little bit of a combination of both, probably, and that's why you're seeing it get so lopsided here. I mean, this slaying advantage is what you expect from LG. We didn't think EG would be able to keep up, and, yeah, pretty much met expectations.
Yeah, again, that S&D, a complete do or die. If they don't win, then that's going to be series for them. Still, though, LG on the attack. Looks like they might be able to get another dunk in. That one's at the hands of Classics, led by Saints as well. But again, fantastic performance. You got 23 kills from Classic, and he's the lowest one on the board, and that's higher than 3 of the 4 players for EG. Havoc really the only one able to keep up using that OSA for slime.
Yeah, this is about as lopsided as it comes for an uplink, and that is all Luminosity. So, you know, if you are an Allegiance fan and you were sitting at home praying for this outcome, the 3-0 keeps you alive in the championship bracket. EG is going to have to battle through losers, and you see the smiles on the side of Luminosity. They look damn good in that one.
And again, that's comforting as well, right? Because everyone expecting them to come in to be at least a top 4 team, if not top 3, something like that. And as soon as they drop to Allegiance, there's a lot of question marks, because again, this has been a very weird tournament, we could say, thus far. Again, Optic Gaming just got beat by E6. They're in the loser side of the bracket. FaZe dropped to the Gosu crew. So a lot of weird things have happened, but I think LG has done a pretty good job of bouncing back. Get a couple of those land maps under your belt. You feel a lot more comfortable. And now the train is running full steam ahead.
Yeah, my top 3 Luminosity, I think I had FaZe Optic, LG were my 3. So Luminosity still looking all right. FaZe is as well outside of that one matchup you mentioned. Optic is going to have a long path. So is Envy. This is, you know, we've been talking, this event's, okay, I know a lot of this stuff can happen with first events. You expect some ridiculous outcomes, but for the most part, the past couple of years, I mean, AW, you had that FaZe Optic final, right? Black Ops 3, I don't know what we consider the first event. I guess Totino's was Optic Rise, which wasn't too much of a shocker. FaZe Orbit was sort of expected at PSX, but right now, it's like, I have no idea who I would pick to be in the final. I mean, maybe, I feel ludicrous maybe even saying Enigma 6, but who knows? They look so strong. They may have an opportunity to do it, but Luminosity here, moving on, guys, to break that one down, though we will throw it down to Benson and the guys.
Thanks very much, Maven. And as you said, with that win, Luminosity joined Allegiance, progressing through to the championship winner bracket. EG, on the other hand, all they needed, Merc, was one map. One map, and they went through, and they ended up getting 3-0'd. We'll start at the beginning. Map 1, the hard point. What went wrong in your eyes for EG?
I just think it came down to the slaying power, and that's what we talked about before the match, is if this Luminosity is playing at their full potential, they can just bulldoze their teams.
Just steamrolled, to be quite honest. It didn't seem like EG could gain their ground sort of anywhere. It comes down to those individual gunfights at times on rotation when you need to take your time and get that intro kill. It maybe happened a few times for EG, and then you're just losing those crucial fights. What can you do?
Right. And then you head over to map number 2, the Search and Destroy. And I think a lot of people, when this Evil Geniuses squad was made, kind of looked and went, oh my God, S&D superstars. You know, this squad is going to be so unbelievably dominant. I mean, you think about just the sniping dominance, I guess you could say, but it hasn't really clicked that way.
No, definitely not. I mean, they were stars in their own right, but you don't know how they're going to act together as a team. So there are obviously some things they still have to work out. I mean, they still, you know, had some clutch game 5 wins versus Complexity. So it's there. It's just finally Luminosity realized their issues in Search and Destroy. They started switching things up. I mean, every single round you could see they're like, all right, let's just do something different, sort of add to that mixture, and it worked out well for them.
And did Luminosity now look a little bit more dangerous in your eyes, team?
It was really that camo ace from Classic, and that's next level thinking, right? A lot of players use that camo payload ability and look for the first kill right away. He uses the camo, he spots out 2 players, lets the camo go away, and then takes the gunfights. Kills the first player in the back and knows where the second player is, sets up his team perfectly, and then picks up the last player. So that was really the nail in the coffin, and just a huge play from him.
And then obviously heading over towards map 3, LG just kind of closed it out. Didn't really, at any point, look as if they weren't going to walk away with that win.
No, and that's what we've seen from Luminosity. That's been their best game type throughout this entire event. Game 3 has been locked up for them. They slayed really well, but it just seems like they know how to execute when they're on the offensive, and we haven't seen that from a lot of teams. When teams sort of go forward with that drone, they're just not executing. You saw that with Evil Geniuses. I mean, they had a few tricky throw spots, but I mean, Luminosity just knows how to execute well.
To touch on that, exactly what we see from these teams on offense is they get those intro kills, the 2 or 3 dead, and there's this weird sort of 2-3 second gap where there's no sort of progression with the drone, whereas LG has it in hand already. They're doing a high wall run or setting up a slow wall run, waiting for those kills to happen, and just pop those easy ones in. So it's impressive stuff.
Well, with that, I believe that's the final pool play game actually concluded. So we can take a look once again at our finished pool results. We'll start top left of your screens. Pool A, FaZe Clan and Elevate will be progressing through, both with 2-1 victories for them. Then over towards Pool B, E6. What can we say about them? They just look so good. Rise Nation, they're going to be joining them, progressing through with 2-1. Pool C, I believe there actually may still be one game currently going on that side station, but Cloud9 looking good, 2-1. Pool D, obviously we just found out that EG will be not going through despite that 2-1 victory, or 2-1 record, I should say, Allegiance and Luminosity. But we'll have a quick talk about Pool C. Obviously, as I believe it's the Echo Fox Splice game, which is still going on. Thoughts on Splice, Mark?
I really want to see this team do well. Like, to me, you take Josh and Vance from last year and their performance that they had. I mean, they got runner-up at Call of Duty Championships, and then you look at the other 2 on that team, Mad Cat and Jerd, who have been like the 2 best players in Europe for who knows how long. Like, the potential on this team is
W3 maybe.
Yeah, the potential on this team is probably the greatest of a European team we've ever seen.
I remember it was this time last year, I believe, I was on an analyst test with both of you, and I asked, is this potentially Europe's year? And you said, yeah, I could see Europe potentially going all the way. COD Champs comes, of course, Splice finished second in that, so Europe did do well. And we're kind of hearing that same conversation. For everything, whenever Europe's brought up, you're both kind of edging the same way. It's saying this could be Europe's year, this could be Europe's year. Do you think potentially Splice need to come out the blocks strong, I guess, to really solidify that team?
I think if they get this win over Echo Fox, that'll sort of solidify my opinion on these guys just a bit more.
Okay.
You look at the 4 players on the roster, fantastic, but you could also say the same against Optic. They're struggling heavily. So
True.
I feel like if they're able to make it out second, Cloud9 secured that #1 spot. And speaking on Cloud9 too, they were able to take down Splice. So I didn't really know where to go with a prediction for that match. Cloud9 able to clutch it up again. Cloud9 looking good, a #1 seed going into the bracket play, right? And they should have a fairly easy match #1.
Been a fair amount of upsets and potentially close games still to come here at MLG Vegas. Excited to continue the day with even more Call of Duty action. For now, though, quick commercial break. When we return, action continues live from Vegas.
There's a ton of things that go into the rivalry scene.
Oh, we need these rivalries. Yeah, but E versus NA is good enough. But
exactly, that's what I need.
Rated as a player is a pretty good guy. Like, he's actually really, really good. Me and Rated got into it a little bit after our match, only due to him kind of trash-talking some other North American players. He made a pretty rude comment to Looney about buying his dinner with the money that he took from him at Champs or something like that. And it felt super disrespectful to me. Looney didn't really say anything back, so I felt it was kind of my place to, you know, let him know that you didn't even win the tournament. You got second. Congratulations.
Just Clayster getting happy over, he's saying, because there's no ban and protect, Europe's not taking a map this year or something, when it's just ludicrous.
I think last year Bance was probably their best player, and he kind of helped mold that team into a powerhouse that it was. But the team swap that happened, I think it was a really dumb move, and I think now his ego is carried over. I think he needs to calm down in the ego department.
I just looked at Clay, and he just gave dead eyes across the stage.
I think they definitely, I wouldn't say worried, I don't think worried's the right word, but I think they definitely know that we're not just pushovers anymore.
Rated hops up out of his seat, lets the FaZe players hear it.
If we match up against Orbit at Vegas, I'm going to play my game just like how I always play. They don't scare me. They don't scare anybody on my team. In the end, they've only had 1 year of good placing, so let's see if they can carry it over to another year.
I want to win everything this year. Obviously, second at Champs, like, people obviously think, oh, you'll be happy with our first European team, but if you're not winning, it doesn't really make a difference. So I just want to win everything this year, and I think I've got the squad to do it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the MLG Las Vegas Open. Benson on the analyst desk, joined by the wonderful Merkin. We have Mr. X.
First time here on the desk. I've been up there casting some games. Been over there casting games. I've been everywhere but this desk. And TP was supposed to be here. I was like, I'm taking your spot. I want to go hang out with my friend Joe.
You're a real fun.
Oh, wow.
Resident European Benson.
Wow.
I've seen you a lot, though, this weekend. We're sharing a room.
Yeah, you keep waking me up. Thanks for that, by the way.
Listen, my call times are early. Got to blow dry your hair in the morning. It's a problem.
Yeah. 6 a.m. Takes him 2 hours to do his hair.
Just wants to hang out with you, Ben.
It was more like 7:30.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway, up next on the main stage, classic North American versus European rivalry. We have FaZe Clan going up against Splice. Merk, I'm going to start with you. You've been praising the Splice boys, saying this could honestly be a, quote, European God squad. Are they really that good in your opinion?
I think we're going to see here in a little bit. I mean, they've had some really close matches. They lose to Cloud9, Echo Fox. I think they just came back down 0-2 and win that game 5. So, I mean, I honestly thought they were going to handle their pool a little bit better. I think they had a pretty easy win over TK, but this is going to be their first real test.
And this is a team that coming into this game, I was a little bit shocked to see them actually make a move, right? I mean, it was the first time we saw an EU team really put up a great performance at a COD Champs or XP against North American powerhouses, and they make this move in the offseason. You know, you bring in Mad Cat and you bring in Jerd. And I still don't know whether it was like an upgrade or whether they're kind of staying stagnant. This is a big match for me to see where they are. I
mean, you look at a lot of that roster and they've teamed together on and off for years. I mean, you can go all the way back to what, GL8, back in MW3.
A long time.
Josh, Mad Cat, that kind of duo-ship has been around Europe for a very, very long time. And then, of course, you add Jerd into that mix, and what a scary, scary roster it can be.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the thing, is it can be scary. Ban's probably the best player in Europe last year. Josh really changed from that submachine gun to a main AR last year, and he's just such a good leader. And then you bring on Mad Cat and Jerd, who have been considerably the two best in Europe for a long time.
I mean, but still, the game has changed so much over the last year. I mean, the game has just changed over the last week or so, right? So I need to see more from this Splice team. I mean, to get by, you know, Echo Fox barely, like, doesn't really, like, impress me, like, so to speak. So I need to see them in a good match here against FaZe.
But having said that, the flip side, is that not also true? You look at FaZe's performance. Has that really been one that's been so dominant to you, Matt, where you can sit back and say, yeah, FaZe, they'll have this one?
So, look, I think the changes of the spawn has probably hurt this team more than anything, right? I mean, what happened is the spawns obviously changed to go a little bit further out. They were so successful at PSX because they're able to play the hard points a little bit more like they did in Advanced Warfare, where you can have Zuma just flood in, flood in, flood in, where the deaths don't really matter. It's just all about the engagements. Now, you really get punished from those deaths, and I think it hurts FaZe a little bit in the hard point.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Clay, he said, this patch didn't help us at all. He goes, we know that, so we have to keep adjusting. And they've talked about that. And this is a team, they've had, their struggles, they've had their victories, so they know how to work through this together.
Do you think, kind of on the flip side to that, obviously talking a little bit about that patch, do you think that may help Splice, or are they in a similar position in your opinion?
I think they're in a similar position, if not maybe even a worse position, to be quite honest, because you have Bance, who kind of comes into the game last year, learning that style of play, and you have Jerd, who's a really fast-paced player, and you just slow those guys down like this late in the game. It's going to be difficult. Clay, obviously, you look back to Black Ops 2, one of the better anchors in the game. I think you can kind of look at him as like the vocal leader of this FaZe team, but I really think Jerd on the side of Splice has a lot to show in this one.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about that update in these guys, I mean, you look at Black Ops 2, I mean, Mad Cat and Jerd were on that Epsilon team that was just so good.
They gave us a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it was
famously 100-pointed impact.
Yes, at Anaheim. So, I mean, this is a team that they know how to play this slow style.
Before your time.
That was all Shane. It was all Shane.
Yes, it was.
Hey,
Shane was carrying the squad back then.
I remember when he juked that sentry.
Yes.
That's Shane's claim to fame.
10 kills a game.
CTF slums. Hey, OBJ.
I love you, Shane.
You know all about OBJ, right, Mark? It's the gritty stuff that had to be done back then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, the OBJ where it kept Joe on a lot of rosters. That's why he's here at the desk.
Wow. Savage. You're at the desk, too.
Yeah, but I never really played, so it's fine.
You played at 2013 champs. Don't try and...
Yeah, exactly. And then
and I beat you.
Oh, actually, that's true. Yeah. Pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I played well.
It all comes out now. But FaZe Splice up next on the main stage. I'm going to ask you, predictions. How do you see this one going, Mark?
I think this goes to like a game 5.
Really?
Yeah, I think it goes pretty back and forth. I mean, I think both of these teams, you haven't really seen that clean of a match. I mean, I guess the FaZe 3-0 over Envy, but even all 3 of those games were just so close in themselves.
I would give the edge to FaZe in this series. I think this is probably, actually, no, I'm starting to think about it. I think it's probably like a 4-game series.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Search and Destroy is like literally a toss-up, I think, in this one. And I think the Uplinks as well, even though I think Uplink is probably the more consistent game mode right now, because it's one that doesn't really change much through the patch. So I would favor FaZe in that one, but I do think the hard point at the beginning, I think it's one that if Splice can get control early, they're just going to kind of snowball and run away with.
Who's going to be the... Oh, sorry.
I know. I was just going to say, and what we've seen with FaZe the past, few matches on the main stages, they come out really hot, but when they slow down, That game 1 versus... Well, was it Envy where it was just back and forth, and they had to close it out, but they allowed Envy back into the game.
Yeah, they really kind of grinded to a halt at that point. So I think key, as you guys have mentioned, is they have to start strong there.
Well, that happened a lot with FaZe last year in Hardpoint. So the thing just watching through the whole CWL last year is they would get these big leads, and then all of a sudden they would just slow down, like get a little lackadaisical and let the other team kind of get close. And then like the next thing you know, it's like a game where they were up by 100, it's coming down to the last few seconds. It's like, if you want to consistently be getting those top placings, you know you can't let that happen.
Got to play a consistent play style, that's for sure. There, of course, a look at Enable on your screens. He's been having a pretty solid event so far, man.
And that's not this is a guy we haven't really touched on too much. Really, we've been focusing on Clayster and Attach, especially Attach. He's had such a good event. He was arguably the MVP at PSX, and this is. I think Enable could really benefit from this update. He's a slower AR player.
And I think what Enable brings to this team, it doesn't really reflect in the scoreboard. It's just a ton of versatility, right? I mean, he can, let's say Clay is hot playing inside the hard point. He's someone who can go on the anchor, lock down those spawns. He's a very smart player. I think the slower playstyle definitely serves him a little bit better than most in this game right now, to be quite honest. And I think also he's kind of grown as a Search and Destroy player. He's been a very good S&D player.
That was definitely one of the game modes he kind of struggled with at the very beginning when he transitioned into Call of Duty. I remember having him in the Curse house, and he was like, God, man,
just having that one life.
Well, that's because he was coached by you and Maven.
Excuse me, do you know what they placed under my guidance?
Maven's coaching was bringing them Chick-fil-A.
Hey, man, all you want to know, I got them to a top 4 placement. Maven didn't even get them in the league. Just saying. That's facts.
Sure.
All right, yeah,
you're coaching, man.
Hey, man, I was a good.
Known for your analysis.
Hey, don't be mean. Anyway,
I'm kidding.
FaZe versus Splice. In all seriousness, in this one, who's going to be the key player from Splice, in your opinion, Mark, that really needs to come out the gate strong? Obviously, you know this is a star-studded European lineup, but who has to go big?
I think it's Bance. I think he sort of touched on it. How is this sort of updated hardpoint going to affect him? I want to see how disciplined he plays with his team.
And Bance has been talking a big game recently. Seen him on Twitter.
A lot, yeah.
He has not made a lot of friends in the North American scene. So I think if you are Bance, you need to come out and have a good game, because otherwise, everybody's hyping him up, right? If he doesn't come out and kind of back up his talk coming into this one, he's going to be in for a lot of trouble for the rest of this weekend.
Yep. We, as Europeans, we like to talk a big game. We definitely do. There, of course, a look over at Josh. And Josh is a player who I feel I don't think recently he has been getting the credit he deserves. He's one of those kind of in-game leaders who traditionally they don't really get the props that they truly do deserve.
I mean, Josh was a guy really who was sort of in that star-studded pack in Europe with Mad Cat and Jerd, and then he sort of took a step away when that Millennium team formed. He took a step away, took a chance on some younger players, and he made it work.
Which is kind of funny because I feel like with Josh, it's almost like you put him in the same boat as Marky B, where like he was up there in Europe for a while, and then they kind of like fall into like this like odd area where they're playing with like newer players and they're trying to form teams, and they always had some success.
Yeah, definitely have had a lot of success in the past. Excited to get this one underway eventually. Zuma, on the other hand, from FaZe, a player that we haven't really touched on quite yet. Matt, from everything you've seen so far, has he been having a decent event in your opinion?
Well, look, at the beginning of this game, I thought this was like a game that was going to suit him really well. But now I think it's really up and down for Zuma. Like, he's going to start out games hot and just kind of continue through them. But when he is struggling and the game slows down, I feel like it's going to be harder, if anything, to corral him and kind of get him back in the flow of the game.
Yeah, we've talked about discipline a lot, and really about the pacing and hardpoint especially. And Tommy, I feel, is one of those guys who can sort of just go one step too far before his team, and that's really where those staggered pushes come in.
And it happens time and time. I mean, you know, as a player, it's like you start like racking together kills, and like you don't even realize like you're just amping your pace up, like you're just roaming around a little bit more, and you're just pushing things out further and further and further. And now with the way the spawns are working, you keep pushing that further and further, you're going to put them right next to the hard point, and that's going to end up hurting your team pretty bad.
And as a player, Merc, how difficult is that to actually change almost? Because obviously you go back to Advanced Warfare, something that we kind of talked about. You know, Zuma could be very aggressive, and you can get away with it. You go to a slower pace game, I mean, how difficult is that to change your own playstyle?
I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, these guys have had, like 2 years now where this hardpoint has played at such a chaotic level, and now you have to slow it down back to that sort of, you know, boots on the ground Call of Duty level, where that was the biggest change for me, right? When Advanced Warfare came out for players like myself, TP, it was like, I just can't.
Too slow.
It's just
too slow.
Yeah, I needed my corner camping. That's just what I like to do.
But I feel like, I mean, you've seen some players this weekend. Like we were talking a little bit about, you know, Aches. Like he's played phenomenal just because the game actually fits his play style now. I think you'll see some players who, you know, in the last year or so, where you're like, oh man, do they still have it? Like really kind of come back and excel.
Just in a broader question, I just realized, right, this is the first time you've really been on the desk. I asked Merc, kind of threw him under the bus a little bit earlier on. Overall predictions for this event, I feel like has gone completely out the window.
Out the window.
Where do you currently stand on who could come out and take this? Is FaZe still potentially that #1 squad, obviously winning PSX? They do make it through groups. Didn't seem the most convincingly, though.
I'm actually going to say I'm still the only team that we did like some caster predictions before this, and I think I said I was going to have like, you know, FaZe in my top 4, Optic, and I picked in my top 4 that I still actually feel confident about is Cloud9. To be quite honest, because you know how Aches is, like he just takes his foot off the gas in group play. Like they go up 2-0 in every series they have during groups. Like they win like just, and those uplinks are pretty close that they have. So like if they could kind of shore up their uplink game, like those are 3-0 wins. It's like how many other teams, you look at all the groups, how crazy it is, come up with big wins like that? Nobody. So I feel like pretty good about Cloud9 going into bracket play.
Okay, that's an interesting one. I didn't really have much conversations around Cloud9, but we'll see how far they can go. Of course, here, a look at our map set for FaZe versus Splice. North America versus Europe. Breakout hardpoint, then a Scorch Search and Destroy and a throwback uplink. The first 3 maps, do you think they favor anyone specifically here?
I'm just looking at that game 1, and that's really going to be the test for these two teams when we talk about discipline, because there's so many rotations on breakout that you can get so many points on each hill.
I would actually say game 4 for me, looking at retaliation hardpoint. That's one that's really unforgiving when you're rotating to Grave and Broken. That's one where if FaZe is not really kind of disciplined and on the same page, that's when they can get burned on pretty bad.
Do we go to a game 4 though?
I think you do. I think the series. I think the series is going to be 4 games. I think the Search and Destroy is up in the air. I'm excited to see what happens in this breakout game 1, and then I think uplink I would probably side with FaZe.
Well, our players are just getting themselves ready on the main stage for now, though. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we return, FaZe Clan versus Splice. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the MLG Las Vegas Open. FaZe versus Splice about to get underway. Championship round 1 from our winners bracket. And just briefly talking about our winners bracket, Matt, I'll start with you. How are things kind of shaping up with it?
So I saw it a little bit during the break. We were looking at it, and I believe at the bottom side you will have Cloud9 going up against Elevate EU, and then it'll be Allegiance going up against E6. And like I said, I felt pretty good about Cloud9 top 4. I still feel really good about this team from the standpoint as I was trying to make the argument to him during the break. It's like the slower play style suits 3 of their players.
Yep.
And you look at the other teams, it's like everyone has one guy who's like significantly hurt, whatnot. Assault, already a slow, very good AR player. Ricky and Aches can just be those like slow, tactical players. They're very smart. They never put themselves out of games. They're never going to feed you streaks. They're always going to keep these games close.
Yeah, but I also think down there you have to look at E6, and they're going up against Allegiance. But I think E6 could has an even better chance to make that run.
I think you could look at them potentially getting into the winners bracket final,
which is crazy. Like a team, like I remember, I think one of our producers, Mark, was like, "Oh, has a team ever like actually come out of the Open and gone all the way to the final?" And I think Revan said maybe during Black Ops 1 it happened with one team, but I couldn't think of anyone off the top of my head where it's happened with. And if we actually have that at this event, that would be
a long
sick.
time.
That'd be nuts, actually. I mean, you know, potentially E6 could be one to do it. But then at the top side of the bracket, Merc, what kind of games? Obviously, FaZe Splice, that sits at the very, very top. Underneath that, Rise LG. I mean, who makes it to the winners bracket from the top side?
And you talk about that Rise LG game, and those are the 2 teams that sort of swapped teammates. So they
like each other.
Very good friends. Very good friends. Of course, FaZe Splice about to get underway. Here, of course, our rig draft on the left-hand side, Splice, the right FaZe. Merc, you're looking intently at the rig draft. Anything catch your eye?
Yeah, I mean, just that Centurion on Clayster. We'll see how he places it on this map. That's always sort of a discussion around, you know, do you take that Centurion?
I have not seen a great Centurion use. I think especially with how important the spawns are now and how big anchoring is, overdrive on somebody like Clayster would have been big.
Yep. Well, map number 1 about to get underway. North America versus Europe. FaZe versus Splice. We can send it over to our casters for the series.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, pool play is done, and it is time to get into the bracket. Courage joined by Chance for what is going to be a hell of a match. EU's finest versus NA's finest. It's Splice versus FaZe Clan. And off the break, we're going to follow Bance through the respawn to see how we can go ahead and go for the break on this first hardpoint.
Well, the break is exactly what you're going to need to see. These players are going to be favoring that shower side so much. You see Clayster right now. He's going to be the player sitting inside. And it looks like Clayster and Vance are actually prepared for each other. Zuma's going to win the gunfight over inside of showers. You see Dirk trying to push up close to the hill, but Enable sitting inside, able to pick up his second kill. Clayster also on the 3 streak.
I already heard Clayster start screaming. He's gotten a few kills. He's starting off 3-0. Absolutely love the energy these guys bring to the venue. And you actually saw the first video that played was about the rivalry between Rated and Clayster. I think I saw on Twitter, Rated and crew in orbit eliminated. Now, though, Splice, the European hope. Brycey on Twitter asked him his prediction. He says, you know, FaZe are looking hot, but I have to side with my European brothers in this one. Right now, it's all FaZe up 30-4. Make it Clayster on a roll. 6-0 off the break.
Well, it's worth mentioning that I haven't seen a single hardpoint game where the team that gets full streaks doesn't win. So right now, Clayster already building towards that, just 100 away from those next Scorchers. Either way, though, they're inside the hill. The points are the only thing that matters, and FaZe has a 40-point lead. You see Clay on that 7-streak. A player coming out just in front of him, gonna get it with the pistol. Now he's just 100 points away from the Warden. Clay's looking pretty good so far.
A Warden off the first life. That'll be the first time we see that this weekend here at the CWL Vegas Open. He's going to rotate towards top laundry and begin to help his teammates with fire down range. There it is, folks. Let's wait to watch him off the respawn to call it in. I want to see the major alert. I want to see the Warden on the top of your screen. Clayster is 9-1. The crowd's behind him as well as he's going to go ahead, streak for this next rotation. FaZe up 74-4, Chance.
Kind of curious as to when he's going to call that Warden in. Either way, the new hardpoint is up. You see the streak score mildly effective. Enable's going to be able to work inside in the hill as well, but still 79-4 right now. Splice not looking too great. You see Josh sitting at 1-6, just struggles all the way around. They're getting destroyed on the rotations. They're getting destroyed inside the hill. They can't break. They can't do anything. This is the FaZe we expected to see coming into this tournament.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit more reminiscent of the PSX FaZe, up by 90 seconds now. So one-sided and Chance, what is it for you right now that's working so well for them?
I mean, can you really say anything other than Clayster started out 9-0, Enables 8-2 on a 4-kill streak, and Zuma's on a 5. They're just not dying. Attach has 1 kill to his name, and that's a 100-point lead in favor of FaZe. There's nothing for this guy to do, and Clayster is hardly losing any gunfights. It takes 3 players from the opposing team to bring him down.
Splice just can't seem to get anything going. Let's rotate over towards Mad Cat. He's near this new commissary hardpoint, but even on your mini-map right now, he's getting surrounded, and there's the Warden, folks. The skies have been taken over by FaZe Clan. It's over a 2-minute lead. FaZe going for the spawns and the break. It's 3 dead again. Forget the 100-point club, Chance. They're going for the 10-point club.
Well, the fewest amount of points I've seen scored in hardpoint is 7. So they are on the way to make this happen.
Look at the combined streak.
Yeah, completely dismantling the opposing team just outright. Now they got the Warden in the air. Now you see Zuma's got full streaks. I think Enable has a couple streaks as well. So everything that could go right is going right. And Tatch is just bored out of his mind. You see he knows exactly where the player is going to be coming from. He's able to get a 3rd kill, not able to get his 4th. But it does not matter. FaZe is going to be there to pick up the slack.
It's 159 to 6. FaZe, I don't know what they had for dinner, but apparently it's got them locked in right now. Forget the strategies, forget everything. Splice just need to get some kills, Chance. They're down by 3. FaZe could put down their controllers for 3 minutes and it would be a tied game.
I mean, honestly, if you need to take a bathroom break, don't go in between matches.
Just go during the right now. Go ahead, Attach. You've got some kills anyway, so you might as well.
I was about to say, Attach ain't going to make too much of a difference. More streaks being called in as well. The first set of rotations are in. The hard point is going to be the brand going to sit inside. It looks like Splice has avoided getting 10-point clubs, but still they're sitting inside the old hard point. They need to get on top of the building to get the points.
Oh my God.
And that Warden is just flown away, but no matter, 170 points between these two teams.
I'm sorry, European COD fans. There's no way I'm watching Splice in this scenario. Nobody on their team has even reached the 10-kill mark. They've got a combined 11 seconds in the objective. Play is not missing. 21-6. Folks, it is 200-11 right now. This is the most one-sided hardpoint I have ever casted it in my entire casting career.
So we're getting to the point where Enable and Attach, if they pick up a few more kills, are going to have more kills than the enemy has points.
They might beat them 250-11. They already have the rotation. Oh. This isn't right. What Chance, you're speechless.
I'm not speechless. This is boring, honestly. There's nothing to talk about.
Chance always so blunt. They're on the rotation. Everyone dead again on Splice. One final player challenging. 230-13. Okay, this is a wake-up call or something. Scorchers coming in, 237-13. Chance is standing up. He's not even looking at the screen. One final push. The crowd getting into it now. Folks, this is a slaughter. Splice are barely holding on for any time. I do believe Pants has stopped it for the moment. 247-16. They might get the rest of the scrap time, but no, I think FaZe want to make a statement. They want to end it right here, right now. They're trying to do so. Bance putting everything in it that he can. 247-22. Attaches there. 250-22. Somebody call someone. We can't show this on stream.
So, moving on to gonna play some Search and Destroy after this.
Negative 30.
Clayster got more kills than Splice got points.
No way.
You get a point per second, and Clayster got more kills. I mean, he started out 9-0, and it's like, I mean, they slowed down, I guess, in terms of kills, but like, it's pretty good. Yeah, no, FaZe is looking good. NA versus EU. NA, they're better.
Josh, 3-17 with 1 second to his name. Pretty big stuff right there. As that is going to be game number 1. I can only imagine what Twitter is saying right now. Chat spamming all sorts of things. That was a rough one. I genuinely, for one of the few times, I don't know what to say after a map.
We just got the audio cue for Clayster replay incoming. I was about to say the entire
whole map. Just replay the whole map as we get ready for game 2. Here's where I can hear Clay scream at the top of his lungs because he starts off 6-0, puts more kills together, earns the Warden in 2 hills, and then they don't look back. Look, just watch the score. Just watch it keep going up while the number is still 4. Unbelievable stuff.
I don't know.
I mean, it's picture perfect hardpoint as well, right? They did all the rotations, got right. They got all the hills. They had the right person inside the hill. Anything you ever need to learn about hardpoint, you can just, well, at least on this map, you can go back and rewatch this gameplay. The coach for FaZe must be very, very good at his job because, I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Not only is Replay smart, but he's damn handsome. And, you know, he's got a smile on his face after that one. Silver lining for Splice. They're going into a little bit of slower pace game mode in Search and Destroy up next. Won't have to deal with a hard point if they can get to that game 4, but if that's any sign for things to come for FaZe Clan, they're looking to make that repeat championship PlayStation experience. And then now here at the Las Vegas Open, a reality. Look at Splice. I don't really know what to say for him because that was just rough. They need to forget about that.
I was about to say, you can bounce back from that. I don't think that's – I think you mentally check out of that game after, like, the third hill, and you just go ahead and start focusing for the next one. Like, if you lose, like, a 250 to 249 game, that's devastating because, like, you were so close. But if you get beat by 240 points, whatever it was, like, maybe you could bounce back for the second, or FaZe is going to 6-0, and it's going to be bad. One of the two.
It either is going to be one of the two. The redraft about to get underway for this game number 2. It's going to be Scorch, Search, and Destroy. Definitely a map where we can see snipers out on that B site. Enable commanding the troops as, let's see if there's anything too crazy coming out right now. Doesn't appear so, as Propulsion very popular on this map and really every single game mode. Reactive armor on Bance as well as Zuma. Not surprising when it's on your most aggressive player. Folks, we just watched the biggest hardpoint slaughter I have ever seen on the main stage at 250 to 22. We're about to change things up, though. Head into Search and Destroy. Chance predictions for Splice on this map. Really, anything they do would be better.
I'm just going to go ahead and say 6-1 FaZe. Like, after that, they just got completely outclassed in every facet of the game. I know Search and Destroy is a vastly different game mode, but either way, I don't know. FaZe, they came into this expecting to be the best team in the game. They proved it at least right there in that past map, of course. They got to continue that kind of destruction, but we'll see what Splice is able to put together.
All right, folks, let's get into it. Game 2, Scorch, Search, and Destroy. We're watching Josh, who had probably one of his worst maps in his entire long-standing Call of Duty career at 3-17 in hardpoint. Looking to see what he can do. First blood now for Bance. The second challenge comes in. Does look like Splice is a number advantage for the moment as, wow, Bance has already soared to 3. Can he chase down the ace? It doesn't matter. Splice take round 1 in a very quick fashion.
Yeah, and that is a huge round as well. They didn't play passive. They just, you know, they came right for FaZe's throat. They were able to come out on top, and that's got to be a breath of fresh air, right? You went from having absolutely zero success, and now you've at least got a round on the board in Search and Destroy. So again, just take that deep breath, focus on the next task at hand. So Splice up 1-0.
Go ahead and switch on over to FaZe as they're on offense now. See if they can go ahead and have a similar luck as Splice when pushing towards his B site. As you can see through the X-ray, an aggressive player already getting towards his front trail side, and I have no idea if FaZe actually knows, so he could be the catalyst in getting this first blood for his team. Grenades coming in from different angles. An attached pop to back out plays like.
Yeah, 8-man stack on this B-bomb site for the moment. Someone's going to be able to make the first move. Jared's going to get that first blood. Difficult to trade out as well. You see Bance is pushing up to help out his teammate. It's going to be a clean trade right there. 3 versus 2 in favor right now. Splice, Jared able to pick up his second kill as well, attached in 1v3. And those players for Splice are wasting no time flying across the bomb site, making sure to close that one out and not give Attach any hope of clutching that round.
Nicely done by Splice. Mad Cat goes flying out for the 2-piece to close out the round. All right, so they've regained their composure. They've got themselves a round lead at the moment. As we continue on through, Splice will be back on offense. Seems like right now, Chance, it's paying off with them just getting aggressive, getting into FaZe's face before really any sort of strategy could come into play other than just run at the enemies and win the gunfights.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dance around that B bomb site, and as soon as that first blood comes in, the team can now be aggressive. Of course, the bomb, once again, going over towards B phase, though. They are triple stacking mid-map, and it looks like they're just going to go straight through. The player watching the flank for Splice is supposed to be Josh. Josh is pushed through all the way to the A bomb site, and you see Zuma already able to pick up that first kill on the flank. Now players have to turn around. Jared is able to get one. He thinks there is more players back here, but look at Josh right now on the mini-map. He's all the way in observation. He's actually going to run straight past the player. Placer able to pick up that kill. That's going to leave Vance in a 1 versus 2, and they know exactly where he is going. Does have that bomb in hand to his credit. Still, though, difficult situation to be in.
I thought that was Let's Go Bance, but no, it's definitely Let's Go FaZe. Confused me for a second. I was surprised to have so many Bance supporters in the venue this weekend. But no, all about FaZe. They're hitting this outer wall run, and they'll go ahead, clean them up with ease. FaZe Clan get their first round. And That's the universal sign for hello. A very nice gesture there by Zuma. Wants to make sure the camaraderie is felt as he salutes him and says, good try there, buddy. I think that's what he was saying.
Yeah, gotta hit him with the salute. Totally the most respectful thing possible in that situation. But either way, FaZe doing a nice job to close that round. Again, we saw a bloodbath of a map number 1, and now FaZe is making sure that that does not happen. Map number 2, not going to get 6-0'd here. So a very close game. Going to see what FaZe is able to put together on offense. They mixed up to the strats quite a bit for that defensive round. Going to see if they pull anything out of the bag, and that seems to be the case. 4 men leaning over towards this A side, and there is no one for Splice that is going to be watching it, and they are wasting absolutely no time.
Yeah, I like this pressure from FaZe and Splice. Look, they have no bodies here. One player rotating on over. He'll get cleaned on up. 3 versus 3 scenario as Enable, Clayster, and Zuma look to open up this A site, and I think that will be the shot call to just immediately go for this objective. What can Mad Cat do as he pushes towards the back lava area? Nothing as of yet, as Bance has opened up this A-bomb site.
Second blood going to come in as well. Bance cannot be stopped. Clayster's able to pick up one, and Bance is going to be there to shut him down. He is 10-4 right now, or 10-2, excuse me, on the 4 kill streak. Either way, I like the play call out of FaZe to go over towards A. Ooh, we got a lot of little talk going on back and forth between these two teams.
Apparently Clayster is something against these Europeans, because there's always some banter going on with FaZe Clan and the European squads, which, hey, I'm all about rivalries in Call of Duty esports. Some of the most legendary storylines have come from them. Splice still in command of this search and destroy, even with the crowd being behind. FaZe not helping here. As so far, this has been the Bance show, man. The guy's 10-2. I got to show him more love. He's back on another streak now, earned himself the Scarab. Moving towards his 2nd streak, as Splice will go ahead and go back to what's worked for them so far this game, the B side.
Well, going to get picked off immediately. The sniper of the K-bar is Clayster when he is on point. So going to get that first blood. Of course, it does appear Josh, number 1 on your screen, is going to be flanking around again. Clayster was able to pick him up last time, so they're aware of what is going to be going on. You see a player is going to be just around this corner. Not quite ready for the gunfight, though. Josh is going to get the kill, and he's going to get out, evening this up to a 3v3.
That's the best case scenario, because look at what that's also forcing FaZe to do. On your minimap right now, they don't feel safe anywhere. They're going to begin to rotate towards this A site, and if you look at the rest of the minimap, Splice couldn't be further away, so that distraction by Josh, he gets out with his life to a veteran play, as that will go ahead and give Splice a major opportunity to actually take this round. Ooh.
Well, went from a major play, and then he didn't check his corners. One of the staples of search and destroy in Call of Duty. Always have to check those corners. Still, the 2v3, the bomb is down, so Splice is not out of it yet. A player going up top is going to be able to take down Jared. That's Enable. Mad Cat now less alive in a 1 versus 3. Imagine FaZe is just going to flood this bomb site. One player is going to be in the back. The pinch is coming in. A player jumps over top, not able to win the second gunfight in time, and Zuma is going to be able to finish off that kill. So FaZe going to get another round on the board.
3-2, they're keeping it close. These teams looking a little bit more evenly matched in search and destroy. Big difference in that round. Bance shut down right away by the precision K-bar shots coming out of Clayster across the map. Here it is from Zuma. Make sure to team shot with Enable to close out that round. And Chance, you have something you want to bring up about this?
Yeah, something to think about is last time FaZe on offense, they 4-man hit A right away, and Splice sent 0 people over there. So even if FaZe just elects to continue to go back to this B bomb site, the standard thing, you'd imagine Splice is at least going to be cautious and make sure to watch the A bomb site, and that seems to be the case. They sent 2 men over. So FaZe, if they play hyper aggressive right now, they can flood out the B bomb site, get it down, and get some kills.
Look at how they're playing this, Chance. They're actually playing more passively around the Scarab near the back of their base, and they're letting Josh and Jerd aggressively push up the sky bridge. Does Clayster sniff this out? It does appear so. There's one challenge. It's the second. Can't clean him up. It's going to be Jerd with the headshot, making it a 3-on-3. And look at how paranoid Enable is now. He wants to move up with the objective, but they've got to clear out their flank. They do just that. Back down to a 2-on-2. Mad Cat and Bance against Attach and Enable.
Streak has been used by Bance, though. Mad Cat has that gunfight inside of control. All 4 players stacked up around this area. All comes down to gunfights attached. Gonna have 2 players out in front. Able to pick up one, not able to get the second. Mad Cat gets the beat down. Enable gonna be coming in from the back. The payload is gonna get used as well. It looks like that was overdrive. He was just trying to get out of dodge. 30 seconds left in this round. Enable does have that bomb in hand.
How does Enable try to play this one? He's worried about Mad Cat still being on this back rock side, and Mad Cat can take all the time in the world. He doesn't have to worry about planting. 15 seconds remaining. Up to Enable to still make something happen. And I think he's now made his decision. How does Mad Cat play this? Looks like he'll go ahead, check the first site.
Won't spot anything here, and I do believe he's too far away to actually pick off Enable on this plant, but does Enable on camo? He does. A major difference maker. He's going to pop it right away. But that's actually a best case scenario for Mad Cat because he tags him up and he'll just go ahead and fall back and wait this one on out. So a burn of the payload ability, and it's for nothing.
Yeah, that is a huge play. Still, though, he has to clutch the 1v1 to get the best use out of it. You see what Mad Cat is trying to do, flank all the way around back in the base. And Enable, of course, needs to stay by that bomb site. Players are going to run into each other any moment now. 17 seconds left. Mad Cat has to make the move. The pressure is on him. He's near the bomb site. He's pre-aiming. Oh, he knows he's somewhere. Going out for the challenge. Enable not going to peek it, though, and he's wasted enough time anyway. And he wins the gunfight.
Nice stuff from Enable. Keep it at 3-3. Let's see it again. As Enable just sits in the corner and hip fires the whole time and lets him walk right into his bullets. You know, when I use the NV4 hip fire, I get turned on twice and have 2 videos on Twitter that get 3,000 retweets and people spam 0-15. When he NV4 hip fires, he hits all 4 bullets.
Well, just to backtrack a little bit, trying to ignore the 0-15 meme, he also burned the camo, but still won the round. So important to note that it wasn't a complete waste. Active camo still being put to use. Those spices going back towards this B.
I love this. I love this.
Round and wasting no time. FaZe, you see 2 members coming on the flank, but it's going to be Mad Cat that has the gunfight. Zuma, though, able to come out on top. Zuma flanks.
Look at the pressure coming in from FaZe every single lane. Their vultures going down to the prey. 2 now dead. Jerd trying to make this round go in his team's favor. They brought it back to a 2-on-2, actually. Enable on one side, Rewind ready to go for Jerd. He's going to challenge the first. The beatdown is there. 1 versus 1. Zuma against Jerd, 2 of the most explosive submachine gun players in the history of Call of Duty. They have ARs this time around, and whoop! Bringing it back in time as he rewinds and wins the round. It's a flashy play, a great use of the payload ability as he goes around and clutches this one up. So many tense moments here, Chance, in this search and destroy.
And beautiful play on both ends as well, because I'm not sure who that player on FaZe was, but he was next to the bomb, baiting it out, laying down, pre-aiming exactly what Jerd was going to do. Of course, the rewind gets you out of a bad situation. So that's a situation where no one did anything wrong. Sometimes, you do everything right and you still lose. That's just life.
Have to commend Enable. His search and destroy as the weekend's gone on has definitely improved from the .25 KD he had in his first few matches of S&D this weekend. Now leading his team, has a streak to his name, and if you look at your mini-map, again, another interesting setup right now from Splice as, I think I know what Clayster is using this round. He's got the sniper, and he'll get first blood for his team.
Jerd in a gunfight as well. He's going to be causing quite a bit of a ruckus. FaZe going to struggle to make any moves until they take care of this player. Of course, that bomb is leading. Jerd trying to go for the beatdown, able to finish it off.
How does he get out?
It's the gunfight against Zuma, and he gets out. The player's not going to be there for the trade. That's Clayster in the back again. Has that sniper right in hand. Yeah, not a good secondary weapon. He should be able to find the K-bar that was dropped by his teammate, though. I imagine he's going to be looking for that. That is the case. So he does have that in hand. Still, though, 3v3 situation. Bomb towards B. That K-bar to his advantage, helping out his team.
He wants the ace, man. There's 2, about to get 3. No, nothing yet. Gets challenged, and now it's a 2-on-2. 25 seconds left. Enable will plant the objective. And now I want to see him play around this streak, man. They've got what they need to win this round. And he does actually see one pushing towards middle. Stay alive, Enable. Stay alive, Enable. Wait for the help of your teammate. I do believe he's going to get it, but no, it's actually attached, getting cleaned on up. 1 versus 2. Streak now coming in. What can it do for him? And he should just stall this out. Yes. Hover this as long as possible. Buy time. He knows who the players are. Beautifully called in. 1 versus 2. Enable trying to be the hero for FaZe. This one tied up at 4-4. Shots down range, and oh no! Oh no, we're gonna pretend like that didn't happen if you're a fan of FaZe.
In fairness, though, that bomb was planted on the opposite side. I don't know if he would have had enough time to get there, even if he won the gunfight. So that's a Trinity Rocket burn right there. It was a good idea by him, but got nothing out of it. So again, we saw a round earlier where the active camo gets burned for essentially no use, but the round is a win, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
That might come back to haunt them.
Chance, this is the series we wanted, these 2 teams so neck and neck right now. FaZe fans in the crowd, your team needs to mount the comeback right now if they want to go up 2-0 in this series. Does Clayster still have the sniper? And he does. 3, 2, 1. Does he peek? No, not about yet. And again, Splice immediately dive right towards subjective. They know attach is behind his grill. They get some tax on him for the moment as he's just trying to stay alive. His teammate now cut down. 3 versus 3. Attach is now found by Splice. Clayster moving up the map. He's got his overdrive. Nothing for him there. Enable the final hope for FaZe in this game 2.
and he's about to get pressured by two different players. Snaps right onto one. The second player is there, and he's somehow gotten out with his life. But he still has to defuse his objective, and that is going to be his biggest worry now. 20 seconds left. Mad Cat, the veteran, playing this one absolutely flawlessly.
It's tough, too, because Enable jumped far enough back mid-map that he couldn't watch the cross to observation, so he has so much stuff that he needs to clear out before he can defuse this bomb. There's just nothing for him to find. Mad Cat able to finish the kill as well, so tough spot, but Splice. Talk about a bounce back as well, because, again, it was a 250 to 20 hardpoint game, but staying strong, win the search and destroy, and it doesn't matter how much you win by, the W is all that matters, so we do have a series tied at 1-1.
Yeah, rough game for Attach. 3 and 9 from him. Enable did all he could. 8 and 7, 3 plants and 1 defuse. But either way, folks, it's all tied up 1-1 in this EU vs. NA showdown. One of the strengths of this new year of the Call of Duty World League is the focus on international competition. We're here at the CWL Vegas Open. We've got the CWL Atlanta Open out there in February. Obviously, the Global LAN League, where we will have European teams as well as APAC teams involved. And then later on this year, Anaheim and Champs. We're going to be seeing a lot of this battle, and that's what gets me excited about these storylines building up already in just our first weekend of the CWL 2017 season.
Line, do you think that's a fluke, or will Splice just have zero hope of being able to win this next respawn?
No, Splice definitely have a hope of winning this next respawn. I think that first map was a sign of FaZe doing everything right, but also not missing a beat. Like, that was some of the best hardpoint I've ever seen played. And when you add in the gun skill that this team has, that's why this FaZe team was formed, almost a year and a half ago now, one of the longest standing rosters in Call of Duty since Advanced Warfare. So this team, they want to prove that they should beat this European powerhouse in Splice, but we've got ourselves a 1-1 series. You see Zuma there going through with the rig draft. We'll bring that to you here quite soon. Look now at the side of Splice as they're definitely happy to have brought this game back from what was that first map 1 loss.
Yeah, and so the second question is this a must-win for them? Do they have to win the uplink? Because, again, if they lose this, they got to go right back into hardpoint. And, again, like, even if it's a fluke of a map number 1, like, FaZe is obviously looking incredibly strong.
Yeah, I think you can say safely that I think this is definitely one that they need to win. I don't think it's maybe a must-win quite yet to that occasion. That made no sense.
Yeah, no, that
made no sense.
The same word.
I'm going to distract you guys. Let's look at the map order and see where this series stands. Woo, thank you, Brian, backstage. Making sure we get that up on the screen before people make more fun of me. Throwback uplink. Up next, as Chance, that one got you real excited. What's up with this?
I mean, didn't necessarily get me excited. We've seen some low-scoring games on it so far. Again, a lot of very passive play. I know EG kind of showed off a one-point toss you can do over Grandma's Hill if you're attacking that barn side of things. So a lot of new things we're still learning from these teams. Maybe EU guys have some tricks up their sleeves. Not too sure. Don't really know how to call this one either. You definitely want to give the slaying edge to FaZe, but even then, again, it's unsure of how much, because, again, Mad Cat, Jerd, fantastic players. Bance was able to pull off second to champ slash it. Like, they have the roster together, so.
Game 4 will be retaliation hardpoint, so when it does get there, I think we saw Envy and FaZe match that back on day number 1. Placer talked a little bit about the hardpoint statistics. I'm excited to watch that map, but first we've got ourselves throwback uplink. Chance, what do you think about this map and game mode combination? Who do you favor coming into it?
I mean, I pretty much just answered that question, right? Like, it's generally a slow-paced game. I don't know who to favor. Again, I haven't seen these EU guys get to play it much at all, just based on the slaying performance we saw from map 1. You have to imagine that FaZe is going to be strong. We already know that they are a very good uplink team, so I'm definitely leaning towards them. However, it, of course, remains to be seen. A lot of Call of Duty left to play, at least 10 more minutes just for this individual game, and map number 3 is underway.
Oh, I love you. I love you, Vegas crowd. I'm looking down at you. Keep getting loud for me out there as we're now in game number 3. Uplink on throwback. We're watching Attach from FaZe Clan as he's the last alive. Going to try to stall whatever pressure Splice can put on. There goes 2. Attach off the break of this game, keeping control of the map for his team.
Well, now, number 2 on the mini-map, Jerd, he is all the way in his opponent's base, but there aren't any gunfights for him, so he needs to get back mid-map, try and pick up some kills. That's what he's going to do. Not even, barely able to pick up the first one, and nearly able to get that turned on there, so even up 2-2 odds. So Jerd, again, doing good job. Get back into the base, causing all sorts of problems. He's going to be on that 4-kill streak as well. Finally, though, able to shut him down.
Right now, every time I think FaZe gets a kill, the crowd is getting into it, so you can tell they're quite NA heavy here in Vegas. No surprise there, though. I don't know why I just went to the drone. That didn't make any sense as there was no pressure on it for the moment, but Attach will try to stay alive near this underpass area as, ooh, nice shot to the OSA from that range, but here we go. It's time for Jerd and crew to go for the throw. There's the connection. Splice up 1-0 at the first minute of gameplay.
Yeah, and you can see Splice is really trying to prioritize the spawn trap that you can put in. We saw that from the positioning of Jerd earlier on. Still, though, it is a good job by FaZe to make sure to clear out their base to contain that lead just by a 1-point difference. Still, though, it is going to be Splice on the attack. They have all sorts of control. And for the moment, FaZe is kind of pinned back under their portal inside of bowling. Jerd's going to try and get at least another 1-point toss on board. Attach, though, there to take him down.
Josh trying to stay alive. It's Play stopping him in his tracks. So I do believe for the moment, FaZe have stopped this pressure, and I do like how Bance has slowed this down. Nicely done by him to recognize the situation. Doesn't try to charge forward, just stays in control of top ticket window. And when he's got that locked down, his teammates are allowed to do what they're doing right now. Chance of that's flood right across middle map. Bance going to go ahead, try to get this one. Not going to happen, and now FaZe, they've finally caught their ground, and they're going to look to move up the map. Jerd lasts alive, but again, he gets two, and that's been the theme so far of this map. Chances finally, when FaZe move up, there's a player from Splice to get a two-piece that stops any pressure they can put on.
Yeah, and right now, Jerd is 9-5. He is causing all sorts of problems. He is constantly putting pressure on FaZe, and occasionally FaZe is able to deal with it, but again, you can only play defense for so long before those points are going to slip through. So again, FaZe trying to throw that drone mid-map, get as much control as possible. They're leaning towards that lemon side. And again, who's your guy that's going to be stopping that? It is going to be Jerd, able to find one, trying to get the second as well, shuts down Zuma. So again, FaZe, they are struggling to just even get on the attack.
Now Enables actually found himself under the portal of Splice. There's no drone to show for it, though, so these kills are great, but he needs his teammates to win the engagements middle map if they want to act on this. So far, they've gotten two. And they can look to score for this one, but somehow Josh has snuck behind enemy line. Zuma, though, expects the flank. As Splice need to now do what FaZe has done so far in this game, which is push out of their base, get some kills near their spawn to relieve some of this push that FaZe are trying to put in. 3 kills, 4 dead. FaZe clan, they've done it, and now they can go for their first score of the game.
Yeah, Clayster's going to have this drone, going to go straight through Grandma's. You have Zuma still in the base as well. This is going to be a dunk without some crazy gunfight going down. And entire credit right there. Got to give it to Zuma. He was in the spot that Enable is actually in right now, watching that cross, and he was able to go on a 5-streak while doing it, setting up this spawn trap as well. So you're going to have that drone go for the 1-point toss. That's going to connect. So what was once a Splice 1-0 lead, FaZe very quickly is able to turn it around, continuing in this spawn trap. Enable hasn't left this spot. He can count out how many players cross over. Finally, someone from Splice is able to shut him down, but still, the pressure is on. Will Splice be able to hold defensively?
Clayster just holding this top mending side. Does get cut down from close range, and it's going to be up to Enable to lock down middle map. We'll see how long he can stay alive for. It doesn't seem like it's too much. The OSA from close range from Bance shreds him in two, and I do like this pressure now from Splice. You've got to get bus control, which they do now have with Bance on their minimap, but it's attached with the two-piece. So many times at Uplink this weekend, we've seen where a team is about to push forward, make a play happen, and then there's a miraculous two-piece from the defensive side to really force the offensive team to get crafty with their play. Here's another example. It's Clayster this time around. Bance, though, with 2 of his own, as he's left last alive.
Yeah, Bance needs to pick up more kills. He is going to fall, so it's not looking very good for Splice to get more points on the board towards the end. It all comes down to those gunfights, but it is going to be FaZe putting on the pressure. Attach already inside of Silo. He's able to pick up a second kill. He's on a 5-streak, by the way, 250 off of that Trinity rocket. Still inside a barn. He's just shooting players in the back. They haven't been able to figure out exactly where Attach is going to be, causing all sorts of problems. Finally gets shut down. Still, though, that drone is just hanging out by Blue. We are going to be going into side number 2 with a 3-1 lead by the FaZe clan.
The respawns looking like FaZe's key to success in this series, as they are up 3-1. Cool, calm, and collected is the team. Clayster and the squad, once they got control of middle map, they were able to rally it in for what, a dunk and then a 1-point play. Outside of that, though, it was a lot of push forward for a team, get wiped, restart from your base, and do the same thing to the opposing squad.
Yeah, I was going to say, Splice probably had control of that side for 3.5, 4 minutes, but as soon as FaZe had just a moment to breathe, they completely broke through to score 3 quick points.
And that's what's even scarier now for the side FaZe is on, because typically, FaZe are now on the preferred side with rallying in those scores. You force your opponent to spawn out in your blue, and then you just push forward with the objective. Clayster's already going for it. The one just over, just nearly misses the portal, but hey, it doesn't matter as Clay is still there. He dunks it on in. 30 seconds off the break, and that's a score for FaZe.
Calculated play. That was done on purpose. He knew Attach was going to be there for the putback. It is a bit unfortunate. If he was able to connect, Attach might have been able to have his gun out to set up for the spawn trap, but no matter, points are points. Still, those Splice hanging around mid-map. They have control just for a moment, but again, Zuma, he's just causing all sorts of problems. He's behind enemy lines, but look, and now he's incredibly tough to deal with.
Yeah, he's expecting them to keep spawning blue, but there's actually no pressure from FaZe on that bike path area, so they just spawn behind him and shoot him in the back. Says, okay, thanks, Zuma, for that one. As pressure will remount towards middle. 4 minutes remaining, and for the difference in score between these teams. You haven't seen Splice get a full 4 dead on FaZe yet this map, and I think that's something they're going to have to change up if they want to come back in this game. Jerd trying to sneak through. There's the one. He connects with it. 5-2. Now back within 3.
Difficult play, but he was able to pull it off. Just a 2-possession game now between these two teams. Of course, that push is going to allow FaZe to get that control again. You see how far up Zuma always seems to be pushed. He's always behind enemy lines. He's in the building right now. Mad Cat's just trying to relieve some pressure. Able to pick up that kill on Clayster. And again, that's going to be nice little reset. We're going to have another opportunity for Splice to be on the attack.
Jerd moving forward with the drone. He's got his lead blockers. 1 dead on FaZe.
Oh. Not quite.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's just switch off of that, and we'll go ahead and refocus towards Mad Cat, as he will try to stay alive in the FaZe base. As they try to go for a crafty one, it doesn't work out, and wow. 3 go down for Splice. FaZe stop without letting up a point.
And again, we saw just as soon as FaZe gets a moment to go on the attack, they can completely run the score over. That's going to be 3 down in their favor. The last player alive is going to be Top Ticket. He's shooting as well. Jerd's able to take down 1, but probably you're going to expect
overdrive.
To see overdrive comes in. That's going to be another dunk. More importantly, another 3 down. Spawn trap time.
Here it comes, folks. The spawn trap FaZe have been looking for. Now the score, 7-2, 2.5 minutes remaining. This could get out of hand quickly if they can't shut down Clayster.
And look at that spawn trap as well. You saw Enable. He was in his spawn watching the overextension. They had Zuma watching the trains, and the other 2 players were in the base. So they literally had entire map coverage setting up just for a single spawn trap. Now Zuma's going to be able to get in another dunk. That is played absolutely perfectly. That is textbook throwback uplink.
Shoots Attach in the back, but hey, the damage has been done. 9-2 now the score. This was the setup I'm talking about. FaZe, when they've got this lockdown, it's going to be tough to break. Clayster with the 2-piece, still putting on the pressure. Splice, they do have the right idea by getting control of Bus again, but Clay, he sniffs it out. This is just rough to watch. As this respawn is getting so one-sided in these final minutes, you're going to see the drone picked up with Clayster in bowling. They have nothing to worry about on the flank. He wins this one-on-one. There should be a dunk coming in for Attach. Instead, he'll settle for the 1. FaZe up 10-2.
Minute and a half left. 8 points between these two teams. 4 times they're going to have to get a dunk on board. It's not impossible, but it is certainly not going to be easy. Jerd, though, has that in hand. Looks like he's going to go for the quick 1-point toss. The interception not going to be there. However, URC FaZe is able to take it. 2 kills, make that a 3rd. Madcat's last one alive, and that is 4 down from FaZe, and that's all they need.
Every time Splice has scored, they haven't been able to rally like FaZe has. If you think of the amount of times where FaZe has scored these points, it's been like 10 points in 3 minutes of actual gameplay. The rest is contesting for middle. Meanwhile, Splice has these 1-point plays that has really just been because they try to do whatever they can with map positioning. It doesn't really work out. 55 seconds left. Chance, I don't see any reason why Splice should come back in this game.
Well, now really the question is retaliation hardpoint is going to be our next map.
Yeah.
We already know FaZe looked pretty good on map 1. They look incredibly good on map 3 as well. Is there anything that Splice can even do in respawn against FaZe?
They have the team that's capable of doing it, but right now I think it's just FaZe being so well practiced, so prepared, showing why they won that PlayStation experience. Here now this weekend, they're cruising right on through. 20 seconds left. We're just waiting for time to tick down. Now it's just padding the stats as Attach is 32 and 20. Zuma 30 and 21. The duo making it happen with the ARs used to subs. Either way, they're matching the meta. Folks in the venue, FaZe Clan will go up 2-1 as they go back to the game mode that they beat Splice by 228 seconds in earlier on this series.
I mean, this is just crazy, right? Like, this is about as close to perfect Call of Duty as I think we've seen in quite some time. Because, I mean, again...
In the respawns, I'll say.
Yeah, because well, this is very early on in the game cycle, but even that setup they had for the spawn trap, they had Enable back in their spawn, watching the full overextension.
Yep.
like they're cutting off things in their spawn when the drone is going for more points. Like they have complete map coverage. Like I haven't seen that yet.
And what is that an example of? A well-practiced team. They know there's only 2 ways that can be broken, and that's overextending through the mid-train or sending a super long flank through back barn. Enable reads it perfectly. You've got to call that cross, and as long as they do that, they will continue to rally in those points. FaZe Clan now up 2-1 as Splice. The unfortunate thing, they don't have a search and destroy next. They have a hard point, and they've got a tall order if they want to force this game 5.
And again, FaZe was playing the hard point absolutely perfectly. Yep. Like it's one thing when you play incredibly smart, because you still have to win the gunfights. And not only are they winning gunfights, they're winning the majority of them. So they can't be killed, and they're not making mistakes, and they're doing everything they can that's right. Like, that's absolutely insane.
Well, we're having a great series on the main stage, but right now I know we have Chris Puckett on the floor for a quick update.
Thank you, Courage. That's right. We are down here on the floor, and behind me we have 3 matches going on. These are all winners bracket round 1. You, of course, see Splice versus FaZe on the main stage, but to my right, we are going to have Cloud9 tied up against Elevate. This is another NA versus EU battle. Meanwhile, this is a rivalry fight behind me. We have Rise Nation going up against Luminosity. Luminosity was able to win that first hard point, and then in our final match, ALG was able to take the first hard point over E6, but Enigma 6, they've been the surprise of the tournament. We'll see if they can get another big win here in Las Vegas. For now, let's send it back to the desk for their thoughts on the last game.
So, let's recap the series. So, start with map 1. Do we have to start with map 1?
Map 1, I mean, there's nothing like that strategically happens in map 1. It was just a slaughtering.
Have you ever seen a team get beat that bad?
Yes. So,
okay.
We got story time.
ESWC 2014.
Okay.
I think it was Momo 2013. I think it was like 250-4. It's pretty bad.
But didn't that series go game 5?
Yeah. Which this one could easily go game 5 as well.
Okay, interesting. Well, FaZe, I mean, yeah. Map 1, they just crushed, let's be honest. Map 2, though, things go Splice's way. Joe, kind of break down what happened in the search and destroy.
I mean, it's what you want to see after such a beating in Map 1. You want to see these guys compose. They were honestly just sort of laughing it off after Map 1. They were like, this was a bit ridiculous. We have to focus up on Map 2. But really, you just saw Splice just playing extremely well as a team on that A-bomb site, getting those bombs down, and just clutching in those 3v3s.
And then, obviously, the last uplink we just saw there, Matt, FaZe, once again, playing extremely well, making it look rather simple, to be honest.
The respawn games have just been dominated by FaZe, and it just seems that they're, in uplink at least, in that last one, they're all on the same page. I think Chance called it out. You know, they're watching the angles they need to watch, just rotating back to their spawn and whatnot. But it seems like Splice, like in the respawn game modes, like it's odd, because the game is slowed down, but it feels like their teamwork has gotten, like, worse. Like, they're kind of scrambled all over the place, which is odd, because you feel like when the game slows down, it should be easier.
Yeah, and they might not just be used to just getting outslayed like this. I mean, we've talked about this Splice roster, and there is so much talent, but FaZe is just putting a hurt on them in those respawns.
Obviously, Matt, you predicted that this would probably go to map 4. You said it would be a FaZe walking away with a 3-1.
We're in a pretty good spot.
I was going to say, how confident are you right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, going in retaliation, I think it's one of the hard points that is really unforgiving. Like, if you can rotate early to Grave and Broken, you're able to take a ton of time there. And even in that mid-hotel hallway, the last one, you're able to take a decent amount of time. I think FaZe is in a really good spot. They get that bridge early, get Clayster up there, just picking up some kills. Once they get the lead, I can't see them giving it up to Splice.
I guess one of the questions I want to ask you, Mark, and I'm sure the rest of Europe would love to know, what does Splice have to do differently here in map 4?
You just have to slow down FaZe slaying-wise. Put the pressure on them. Like, every single game so far, Splice has fallen behind early. You have to put the pressure on FaZe, and that just deals with slaying. Slowing down attach, slowing down Clayster, it's a tough thing to do.
Well, it's harder now. I mean, when the game was so fast, it's a little bit easier to make those big comebacks, right? Because you're just able to snowball. You start winning gunfights. Now it's like, you can rotate a little bit earlier. You can give up sometime. You can make it back. Like, it's a lot harder. Like, I feel like now you're just playing like the long game. Like, before you can come back really fast, 2 hills. Now you're trying to chip away. 15-point comeback on this hill. 10 on the next one. Like, you're just trying to consistently beat them. And it's a game that Splice is just not used to playing right now.
That was a big roar behind us from the open station.
A lot of FaZe fans out here, too.
Dude,
like
hey, man, FaZe fans
can
can get rowdy, too. I would love to see that Optic versus FaZe matchup at some point throughout this tournament. Obviously now...
That could be a while.
Yeah.
Could be a while.
Could be, but I would love to see it nevertheless. Of course, we'll try and keep you up to date with everything going on the side station. Here a look at our championship winners bracket. Of course, at the top, Team FaZe going up against Splice, Rise Nation versus Luminosity. Just underneath them, Cloud9, they take on Elevate, Allegiance versus Enigma 6. Just as a broad look at this one, Matt, if you had to give me a winners bracket final prediction right now, who are you going with?
I would say FaZe Cloud9.
FaZe Cloud9?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel pretty confident about that.
I feel like I know what you're going to say with this one. I feel like you're going to go with the open bracket squad, huh? You're gonna
Nah, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go Luminosity and E6.
Hey, all right. Luminosity, E6, a little bit different there, a little bit different.
Luminosity is a team that, like, they have just, like, unlimited potential that, like, I see them on there and I'm like, well, like, do I really, like, take them in a game, like, over FaZe? And it's like, I'm not sure, but, like, Luminosity could easily come into that match and they play to their potential and they just, like, steamroll right through.
Obviously, back to the FaZe Splice matchup as it stands. FaZe currently sitting pretty 2-1. Heading over to that next hard point. A question for you, Mug. Who from Splice really needs to kind of step up? Because map 1 was not pretty at all, specifically talking about hard point.
If I had to pick on a player, especially with Retaliation, I would have to choose Mad Cat. He's been such a dominant AR for so long. You really want to see him step up and make those high-impact kills on those rotations.
How many kills did Josh have in game 1?
You just had to bring it up, didn't you?
I mean, I think it was like 3 kills or something like that.
I think they all had less.
Right, but I get what you're saying. I think you obviously need Josh to like kind of get his bearings, like in respawn. But I do agree the sentiment that Mad Cat though is like that explosive player, you know, AR in the past who can really kind of control the angles that they need to, and it's a big task because he's going up against Clay.
If by some miracle, let's say Splice was able to win this hard point, if it did go to a game 5, would you still say FaZe could take this, or would you maybe lean a bit closer towards Europe?
Well, I think it still could go to FaZe. I mean, game 5, I believe it's Crusher, Search and Destroy. And I had a Coach Reap sighting earlier today.
Okay.
I saw him in the venue, so I know that he's got those guys playing a lot of Search and Destroy. So, you know, they definitely have the potential to win it.
You're still thinking FaZe as well, Matt?
Yeah, I would still go with FaZe. I'm not. I wouldn't change my pick. If it goes to 5, I would still stay with FaZe.
All right. Well, the redraft for the next hardpoint map 4, of course, underway. It looks pretty business as usual there.
And this is something you touched on a map like Retaliation. Neither team has overdrive. They both took Centurions. It'll be very interesting.
Very interesting indeed. Well, map number 4 about to get underway. That means we can send it back up to our wonderful casters for the series.
Beautiful stuff, guys. Major props to Puckett as well as you boys on the analyst desk. Long days. A lot of fun, though, here at the launch of the CWL 2017 season. We're back in Hardpoint, folks. FaZe Clan and Splice. Let's see if this one's a little bit closer. Please let it be closer. I really do want it to be closer.
Honestly, if they could just break 100 points, I think I'd be satisfied with that performance. We're going to see. Right now, it is going to be Splice that are in the hill off the break, and well, they're not far away from having as many points as they did in the entire first game, and this is just the opening break.
Chance, the more I get to know you, the more I get to realize you really are the biggest troll in Call of Duty esports. You've got a lot of dry humor, and I really do appreciate it, as right now, FaZe are up 13-8. They've gotten control of the hardpoint for the moment. And if I'm not mistaken, when FaZe faced Envy on this map, they got absolutely destroyed on this bridge hardpoint. I think it was the bridge hardpoint, or it was the hotel hallway. Either way, there was one hill that Clay said we have to improve on this weekend. So we'll see if they do so in this match. Right now, the score about to be even as the rotation begins towards bottom bike. There's 3 kills on rotation, and folks, Splice are 1 second away from matching the score they got in game 1.
Well, I mean, FaZe, they just seem to be like ahead of the game right now, right? Like Enable's just pre-aiming where these players are going to come from. We just saw a clean forward down. Now you see Splice is actually going to spawn out, but Itachi recognizes it. He turns around, that number 5 on your screen. So again, they're hyper aware of where these spawns are going to be coming in, and they're cleaning up everything. This is now what, 8 kills in a row for the FaZe clan. Not much more you could ask for.
Make it 9. Looking for more now as everybody from Splice is just running down the lower street. And if you look, you've got 2 players top patio, 1 near top bedroom window. Clayster obviously holding near this bike shop. They're just running right into the ARs of FaZe, and Clay's been staying alive all day long inside this hard point, now 5-2.
I mean, yeah, I think you were right. They're just not good at bridge, like that single hill, because since then it's been more of the same for what we saw in the first hard point. And even then, the bridge hill is, 50-50 split. They both got about 20, 22 points on it, something like that. So the rotations are coming in. I assume FaZe is going to do that pretty much flawlessly, as they've done before. You see right now, Enable's going to be pushing that focus on the market side, but his teammates are spawning up on the bridge side. So they've got a built-in pinch coming in.
Look at the mini-map spawn we just saw from Josh and Mad Cat all the way near the bottom of the map. They've got to try to trek all the way across, and the FaZe pinch now developing. Thankfully for European COD fans, Splice do get the first 2 kills, which will make this a much tougher thing to do for FaZe. And yeah, runs out of ammo. Splice do win the battles on rotation as they look to come back in this game. They were down by about 40 seconds, now 30, as they continue to chip away.
Well, so far, FaZe, they've pushed 3 players up the bridge. 1 player is going to be coming on the flank. That's going to be Glacier. That's going to be 2. Make it 3 down in their favor. And it looks like they got that 4th kill a little bit earlier on. So FaZe, pretty much a perfect break coming in. So Splice finally gets some points on the board, but it's not for long.
With the new hardpoint changes, Splice just give up 30 seconds of time. They don't spawn near it. They spawn out. They say, all right, you know what, boys? Even if we give this up, we'll be down by about 65 seconds. If we can have a perfect hold at Broken, this will be near a tie game. And I do actually agree with the decision here. The thing is, can they hold it for the full 60 seconds? They haven't done it once yet this entire series in Hardpoint. Let's see how they can do as 3 players begin to push down bridge for FaZe.
Well, I'm just here to learn. We're going to see how FaZe is approaching this hill, but 2 are actually going to fall. Mad Cat and Jared going to be able to come out on top of that engagement. Mad Cat has a bit of work cut out for him, though. He's got a player coming from the challenge on that wall run bridge side. He's going to be flying out over top of Tash, able to win the gunfight. FaZe putting all sorts of pressure coming down this bridge. Vance, though, in the hill. He's got the important gunfights to win, and he's going to win both of those against Tash. Former player inside. Give them all 3. Vance, someone needed to step up for the team, and so far it's looking to be him on a 4 streak.
33 seconds to his name as well. They've done halfway of this hard point with locking it down the full time, and they're looking to get the rest. 1 final push from FaZe. The challenge comes in. Vance cleans up 1. He sees 2 others near the bus, but he's got help from his teammates. This is a perfect hold. Vance now about to earn some streaks, almost has the bombardment as well, and just like that, Splice get the full 60. The plan works out, and they're back within 1 second.
This is what I said when Clayster got the streaks map 1. I haven't seen a single team get fully streaked out, any individual player in a respawn, and them not win. They are absolutely huge, especially with how important each individual kill is going to be on the map. So definitely got to keep your eye on Vance, of course. If any team is going to break that trend, FaZe is definitely looking to be the team that's going to do it. Still, though, Attach right now 12-6, looking fantastic. Clayster trying to get inside the hill as well. They're just bunny hopping around the hill. Either way, though, FaZe going to be able to take control, and the awareness by Clay able to get that turn on Mad Cat.
When Clay came back from the break there in Game 3, the crowd erupted when he walked on stage. He's got the energy behind him, and apparently Attach does as well. 15-6. This guy's shooting through walls right now and hitting people. 3 streak to his name, 129, 130. Now to 108 the score, and again, Splice will give up this scrap time in Hotel Hallway to set up for Bridge to maybe get themselves another large chunk of time.
Well, Splice is doing the correct thing as well. They're trying to push out both sides pretty much as far as they can. Of course, they have to win the gunfights while doing so, and Attach is still continuing to pick them apart. He's on a 4, make it 5 streak again. Has a player underneath. He is going to get shut down by Jared. Either way, though, we saw 4 players for Splice give up the scrap time to focus on this hill. Doesn't make a single bit of difference. FaZe is able to get inside first.
Unable playing that close van area. Zuma getting flanked now. Beautiful pinch from the side of Splice as they'll stop the bleeding for the moment. Back up to what is the largest lead for FaZe in this game at about 40 seconds, alongside from what we saw earlier on. But remember, don't count any teams out in hardpoint. Clayster doing what he can, currently sitting at 9 and 10. A nice assist there as FaZe might give this one final pressure. I do believe they will, and that's a nice clean break. They'll get the rest of this time and begin the rotation towards the bike shop.
So the question is, right now, Vance is still sitting on some score streaks. When do you break those out? Do you save them all the way for Cathedral, or do you use them for the next hill?
I think you use them at Cathedral. There's too much indoor cover that is still valuable to watch over this hard point with top patio, with top bedroom, inside the bike shop area, where FaZe can sit to avoid those streaks. Clayster, if he heats up, I think that's disaster for Splice. 3 streak for him now. Make him 4. Shot coming down from this high ground area. Clayster is just not missing a 5 streak. He's now 1 kill off some streaks of his own, as FaZe are now getting into that gear where they become untouchable in this game mode.
Well, last time around, this is where FaZe went on about a 10-kill streak and held the hill for nearly an entire 60. Now, it was Spice that was there earlier on, but since then, nothing but FaZe. There's the Trinity Rocket, so we got streaks on streaks. Bance hasn't used his, and frankly, he might need to just to shut down Clayster before he gets any farther, and that's going to be the case. Not able to get anything more than that. Still, though, FaZe looking pretty good. Largest lead we've seen so far this entire game, about 70 points between these two teams.
Rough stuff for Splice. You worked so hard to come back from a minute-long deficit earlier. Now, though, you're in the same position. Will the Cathedral hardpoint be the one that brings you back into this game? Bance still has those streaks, but Clayster is now using his own to try to clear out that back area. It's going to be gunfights near this Graves hardpoint. What can FaZe do to break?
Well, those streaks really didn't matter because the spawn came up at market, so FaZe, they're going to have to force it. There's only 2 players coming in from bridge side, but apparently that's going to be enough for FaZe to see Attach and Clayster working in tandem. Bance, though, going to be able to shut down one player. Clayster's going to fall as well, so it is going to be Splice still holding on to this game, down by 50 points, and Jerd is a force to be reckoned with at times. King Jerd is strong, and of course, you see more streaks coming in. I believe those are going to be Bance's, and those land right on top of those FaZe players trying to come over through market.
What a different game we would have, I think, if Mad Cat isn't 7-17 with the least amount of time on his team. They need him to be that consistent slayer that he's been known for in his career. Right now, though, not having it. The rest of this scrap time should be ready to go for Splice, and there's one player, and it is actually Mad Cat, who's trying to be a hero across the map at Broken. He just can't get the kill on rotation. So FaZe are set up to potentially get the full time on this Broken Hill. They just need to win a few gunfights, and there's the first one.
And you got to keep in mind the last time around, this was Splice's kill. Well, is able to pick up one, and that's at least going to cause problems for FaZe. Has the second player over. Attached, though, going to be able to win that gunfight. And again, FaZe, they can win this game on this very hill. 15 seconds left in the building, and they only need 30 more points.
Here FaZe go again, folks. 220 to 194. Splice have maybe one final coordinated push. They're 2 dead now, about to be 3. FaZe doing everything they need to stop this pressure from Bridge. They do not want to let off the gas pedal right now. 235 to 194. The Let's Go FaZe chants have started. Oh, there is nobody near the hard point, folks. The game mode that made this team famous in Advanced Warfare is back again for them. FaZe clan, get on your feet. 250 to 194. Clayster is hyped.
Impressive stuff.
Beautiful stuff for FaZe. There's a look at the crowd, excited for their team. Woo, Chance. If FaZe keeps playing like this, man, I don't know who beats him.
I mean, it's crazy, too, because we talked about how important those score streaks are. Bance uses both of them. They do really well on that hill, get about, 45, 50 seconds, and they get all those points just to make the game closer. And by closer, I mean, they still lost by about 60. So, again, FaZe, their hard point is looking pretty dominant.
Mad Cat 9-21, the missing factor right there on the side of Splice. For our first match of MLG Primetime tonight, it's the North American Powerhouse Squad, greater than EU. I think is what basically is being spammed in the chat right now. As FaZe win that one 3-1, take both hard points and the uplink. As long as they can keep polishing that search and destroy, this team looking untouchable. Analysts want to hear your thoughts on how FaZe closed out that series.
Well, with that one, of course, FaZe will progress through to the winners bracket semi-final for Splice. It's not over. They will fall down into the losers bracket, but we may see them later on in the tournament. But let's obviously just talk about that map number 4. FaZe, they came out and just dominated once again, Merc.
I mean, that's what we talked about, them getting off to a hot start. Splice just had this. I said Mad Cat has to do well. And he finishes 8-21. That's not something you can do as a main.
That's not well. Yeah, no, that's not well. You need Mad Cat to show up in a much bigger way than that. And obviously, some other things go wrong for Splice during that final game. But still, I think Mad Cat not kind of having that explosive performance really hurts them.
And how dominant of a force now do you think that makes FaZe look, at least? I mean, are they now, with that win, going to have a ton of confidence going into the rest of the winners bracket?
I mean, I think so, and that's sort of what we talked about coming into this tournament. And we talked about how important 2 hard points is for this team. But again, Splice, they had some shaky wins in pool play. Going game 5 with teams like Echo Fox, they only won over, TK, and then I believe, was it game 5 again with Cloud9?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, they really haven't shown much of a dominant performance.
My concern on the side of FaZe would be is last year there were so many tournaments where they look so strong and they win their first round, and I'm like, this is the tournament where FaZe is going to go to the finals. They probably look at the bracket and they're like, this is where we go to the finals, and it doesn't happen. It's like they can't look forward. They need to just take this one game at a time. This match is big, obviously, getting by Splice. But still, like, you can't kind of look at this bracket and think like, oh my God, Envy's not here, Optic's not here. Like, this is like open, like it's going to be easy, because it's not going to.
Yeah, I mean, their next match is going to be Rise or Luminosity. I think that one of those two teams could definitely slow down this FaZe team.
Okay. If you had to hedge your bets on which one it would be, who'd you say?
You know what bet? I'm putting Luminosity in the winners finals.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure you're consistent. Of course, the refresh of our bracket FaZe will progress through to the winners bracket semi. As you just heard mentioned, they will play the winner of that Rise versus Luminosity matchup. You have Luminosity going all the way. Do you think they will beat FaZe realistically if they were to play against them?
I think they match up
on the limb kind of prediction.
I think they match up really well with FaZe. It's sort of the 4 Slayers versus 4 Slayers. One of the biggest things though is, can Luminosity slow down, Attach and Glacier?
Well, you look at the teams that are still left on that side of the bracket. Luminosity is the only one that can go toe-to-toe with them in the slaying department. That if FaZe can turn these kind of into these a little bit more chaotic games where you're just drafting rack up kills, like who else there scares them really? I don't think much of anybody.
And that's the thing is, we just saw FaZe lose that Search and Destroy. I mean, if Luminosity can steal, a respawn, maybe an uplink or a hard point, they can potentially win both Search and Destroys.
And it's also
They might not play until tomorrow morning, which might be a good thing for them, as you said, because if those open bracket teams